Welcome to Richmond Raceway, the action track for race number 2 of round 1 of the Darkmatter Designs Cup Series playoffs here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. I'm joined in the booth tonight by Chris Spear for 200 laps of action here at Richmond Raceway. Chris, this is going to be a huge test for all these drivers out here, and we have a lot of things to cover because a lot of things have happened during the week.
That they have, Jared. Tonight's going to be an exciting race for track racing in the playoffs. This track is a lot of pressure for these guys. A lot of throttle control all the way around this track. Certainly going to make for an interesting show here tonight.
Sure are, and we're looking at the guy of the hour, Brian Helm. He is the guy we're looking at right now on screen doing his qualifying laps. If you guys are just tuning in, for the year, Brian Helm missed the playoffs, or so we thought. But actually, there was a scoring error, and that actually eliminated Tim Bills due to that scoring error. So because of that, it actually puts Brian Helm into the playoffs. So with that being said, the 26 car now has a chance at the championship, and I talked to Brian, and he is excited to have that opportunity. Unfortunately, Tim Bills, the driver, dropping out because of that scoring error, but at the end of the day, the decision was made. The right decision at the end of the day was made, and everything corrected itself. So how's that going to impact all these other drivers that are in the playoffs, knowing Brian Helm is out there now?
Well, Jared, the problem with Brian Helm being in there is that he's been competitive every week so far before we even got to the playoffs. Last week had a great showing with a third-place finish, I believe it was, but he's now sitting in 6th. He's above the cut line already, just his first race, technically, in the playoffs.
Exactly right. And the other news story, we can't avoid it, and that is Jeff Winter being withdrawn from the Cup Series. So that means there are 15 drivers still eligible to race for that championship. Troy Torgerson highlighted in yellow. He is at the top of your board in qualifying currently. So that means what that means is he won last week at Darlington. He's punched his ticket. And as qualifying still wrapping down, Randy McCanney out on track now. He has gone 5th quickest. We got a couple other drivers still out there. Darren Bruce, it looks like, has just completed his lap in the 06, and he is abandoning his lap, actually, it looks like. Matt Geringer making a return back to the series. He's a part-time driver, doing good. Got a lot of September 11th tributes, patriotic paint schemes. Love to see that out here on the first Monday after September 11th. So awesome to see that out here tonight here at Richmond. But let's take a look at those standings, Chris, because it is a little bit different because of all those changes that we talked about at the top of the show.
That it is, but up top, the one man already advanced, Troy Torgerson, looks to be the pole sitter here tonight with just over 6 minutes left here in there. Behind him, though, Bernard Person not too far off from being able to clinch his way on in as well. But Bobby Terrell right behind him, only 1 point back, separating the top two.
Any driver that leaves here tonight more than 40 points, really more than 38 points above 12th place, will be punching their ticket. You look at some of these drivers. Randy McCanney, tough race last week at Darlington. Lane Allen, tough race. Wayne Grossi, tough race. Jason Spear actually had a pretty good race, and he pulls himself from last in the table. He's got himself right on that cup line, 4 points above Wayne Grossi. Dean Doucette, a tough race, dropping from one of the top 3 drivers down to 11th. Ralph Nolan, Richie Coy, Rachel Hunt, Hannah, Helm, and are all in your top 10. McMullen, Nearad, Terrell, Person are in your top 5. Torgerson, the only driver officially advanced, but as we said, Person needs about a 12 points more than he has right now, and he will be into the next round as well. Qualifying wrapping up here at the action track. Let's take a look at our race information here tonight. Richmond Raceway, a 3/4 of a mile track built in 1955. Hard to believe this track started out as a dirt track. Then it went through a configuration that was basically, a track that looked a lot like what Bristol did in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, an asphalt Bristol. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, this track configured to the D shape you know it today. And then lights were added not too long after that. But we have an 80-degree air temperature, 82-degree track temperature, Chris. This is really racy conditions for a track that has really put on some good races here in the past. We saw Tim Bills dominate in the spring. Jeff Winter ended up leading a lot of laps as well, but Brody Hanna stole that victory, taking the lead with about 10 laps to go.
And tonight, Jared, this track comes down to a lot of different things. The biggest key being able to make it to the end. A lot of people want to abuse their cars early on in a run to try to get those positions early and quickly as possible. That's going to hurt you here at Richmond. This is, all regards, a long run type track just because of the way that the tires wear at this place. You really want to be able to keep them under the car and really have something for people at the end of a run rather than at the beginning. Though it is a short track, Jared, and we know what happens at short tracks.
Yeah, and this is going to be, and this is just the first of two in this round. Bristol Motor Speedway lingers in the background. And remember, these drivers did not race Bristol in the spring in the form they will race Bristol next week. They raced a dirt track at Bristol earlier this year. So that is something that these drivers haven't been at Bristol yet, at least on the concrete version of it. We look at some of these drivers I was talking to. Ralph Nolan Jr., the driver of the number 95 Employernomics Chevrolet before the race, Chris, and he said this track, after the updates that came out last Wednesday, this track has a lot more grip, and he expects a lot of two-wide racing here tonight, Chris. And I know you've had some experience in this track. How are you feeling about this?
Certainly a lot of grip in this track now, Jared. And also now we have an outside groove that works really well here as well. It's not just an inside groove track now. I'm watching a couple of drivers here electing to go ahead and start warming in that outside groove and trying to get a feel for that groove, because it's going to be a lot easier to pass on old tires on the outside rather than it is on the inside.
Now, Chris, you know, we're looking at Troy Torgerson, who just came down pit road to practice his pitting. How do you attack this race knowing you already are into the next round? You're going to be there in the round of 12 no matter what happens tonight or at Bristol. How do you attack this race? Do you go super aggressive or do you go more conservative?
Jared, that's a tough question for Troy Torgerson and that team, because really, yeah, you've got a kind of a free round here, which is already a difficult round as it is for these last two races of the round here at Richmond and at Bristol next week. However, all those bonus points, they're going to be pretty critical as we get into the next stage. I'm thinking that I'm not willing to go out here and just ride around tonight. I may be willing to hang around in the back for the start of the race, but I'm going to get up front as quickly as I can and try to stay there.
And take a look at the race analysis. This track, based in Richmond, Virginia, opened in 1955, as I talked about at the top, as a dirt track, now a 3/4 mile short track, 14 degrees in the turns, 8 degrees on the front stretch. But Chris, the treacherous part is the 2 degrees on the back stretch coming off turn 2. It's a treacherous beast to handle these 100 horsepower cars off that corner.
Absolutely. A 3,400 pound car here in the 750 package. Jared, these cars are going to be wicked loose coming out of the corners here. It's all going to come down to who has the best throttle control here tonight. And that's what we'll have to keep an eye on early on in the race, because that's going to show exactly who's going to have the pace for the entire night.
Sure is. And we got Doyle Lawrence out there watching. As always, appreciate you being out there, Doyle, here tonight. And Chris, let's get into your keys to the race, because I'm sure you got some ideas what these drivers are going to need to do tonight.
Absolutely. For the first one, it's going to be avoid everything. Whether it's the wall, spinning out on yourself, or other drivers around you, you've got to keep this car clean to be able to get to the end of the race tonight. Number 2, it's going to be simple. Don't make any mistake. No driver mistakes. We don't want to see any penalties coming from pit road. No jumping the starts. Nothing that's going to put you further back in the pack at an already difficult track. And then 3, Jared, maintaining your tires. If you slide your car in these corners and ruin these tires early on, you're in for a long, dreadful race throughout the entire night.
Well, Chris, you got some really good keys to race, and we'll hope those drivers are listening and take those notes down if they haven't already. But we look at this race tonight, 200 laps, which is going to be about 150 miles because it's less than a mile track. But the pit stop window, they can do 145 laps on fuel, so that means the pit stop window, anywhere between lap 55 to 145, they could come in and top off and be done with pit stops for the night.
That they can, Jared. And a lot of guys here are going to do whatever they possibly can to try to make this a strategy race here, especially some of those guys that kind of haven't shown a lot of speed in the back of the playoffs.
And Chris, do you think, with this race, having the potential, and Brody Hanna hits those tire barriers there, trying to get down on pit road. Do you think there's going to be anybody that tries some pit strategy tonight that we don't see coming?
It certainly makes a interesting strategy here to go ahead and try it. I mean, you might as well, if you feel that you're already behind the 8 ball here, why not try it?
We're about to find out how Richmond is going to get down tonight. We are about ready to get this thing going, so let's get into our starting grid here tonight at Richmond Raceway. On your pole is last week's winner, Mr. Troy Torgerson, with a time of 21:48 on pole. He beats Lane Allen by 1/100th of a second. He lines up second for the second week in a row. Row number 2 is Brian Helm and Josh Mayu. Row 3 is going to be Randy McCanny and Bobby Terrell. Row 4 is Jason Spear and Jeff Chandler. And rounding out your top 10, Chris, is Rachel Hunt and Bernard Person.
Behind them and row number 6 is going to be Chuck Sweeney and Ralph Nolan. Row 7, TJ Bartell in the 88 machine, and right beside him, Casey McMullen in the 71. Behind them, Dale Nearad, Mark Figueroa will make up row number 8. Row number 9 is going to be Kevin Rupert and Gil Gluck. And row number 10, Richie Coy and Andrew Polisky.
And let's take a look outside the top 20. We've got a little bit of an issue there as we've scanned too far. There we go. Row number 11, Darren Bruce and Mike Watts. Row 12, a chase driver, a playoff driver, Wayne Grossi, alongside Bill Benedict. Row 13 will be Josh Johnson and Chad Lang. Row 14, John Held, the Canadian, along with Sherwood Williford. And rounding out your top 30 is Donnie Staubitz and Adam Newton, Chris. We look back at the rest of the field, Geringer, Solari, and we got 2 playoff contenders back here, Chris. Dean Doucette in 33rd, Brody Hanna in 37th. We do have a driver that is a spotter that is listed on the grid, but he is not racing here tonight. So that'll make up your 37 car field tonight, Chris.
And Dean Doucette and Brody Hanna, they're going to have an entire field to get around here early on. Maybe they're just deciding to hang back there and let the event play out before they decide to go up and get racing in the later part of this race.
And I want to bring this up while we're under the pace laps here. Look at where these guys are on the track, already split out so far back. So they are already, seconds behind at the start by starting back in the 30s here tonight. So it's going to be interesting to see how Doucette and Brody Hanna can get it done. But we are about ready to get this thing underway as they come off turn number 2. Torgerson, it's a repeat of last week. Torgerson and Lane Allen on your front row for the second week in a row. You don't see that very often, and the lap time's close again. Pace car making their way down to the pit road, and it's going to be led down by Troy Torgerson in that Abruzzi number 98 Ford. Flagman holding him back, gets the flag up, and we are underway at the Richmond 200. Troy Torgerson with a great start into 1, Chris.
An amazing start by Torgerson in the 98. Behind them, Brian Helm, Lane Allen, side-by-side going through 1 and 2. Those 2 drivers will have to duke it out. The position now for second is going to go to Brian Helm on the backstretch as he pulls ahead of Lane Allen.
Brian Helm with a great move as he is now a playoff driver, moves his way into number 2. Behind them, we got Josh Mayu hung out the outside. Randy McCanny trying to make a move to go to 4th. Also, Bobby Terrell in this mix. Jason Spear with a great start in there, and Jeff Chandler.
Jason Spear knows he's close to that cutoff line. He's got to get up here and be competitive early on in this race to try to get as many points as possible, trying to work his way towards the front here early, Jared.
And we look on board the number 83 machine, look in that cockpit, and he's already taken a little bit easy, gets that inside run there. And Chris, you talk about it being on the bottom of this track, it's a little bit hard because that outside groove, you're not able to kind of wash your car out, and it kind of tightens the corner up for you.
That it does, and you see it right there. Jeff Chandler is able to get in front of him in that 31 machine. He's looking to be a spoiler to these playoff drivers, trying to get up here and snag another win on his season so far.
On board Jeff Chandler in the 31, you see 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 all the way back as far as you can see. Oh, we got Rachel Hunt spinning. And we are under yellow. And it's Rachel Hunt, and it looked like I could not tell from that angle, but we're going to get a replay and see what happened to the 16 of Rachel Hunt.
Luckily for her, minimal damage as she barely caught the inside wall, Jared. She'll be able to get that machine fixed. And this is a short track. You don't need these cars to be perfect at the end.
There's TJ Bartel underneath of her, kind of. Oh, and it looks like she got a little bit tight off the corner. TJ Bartel, nowhere to go, gets into the back of her, slides down, doesn't hit anything, does maybe scrape the rear end of the car, but the problem is she was running about 10th, and now she's 37th on the track, Chris.
That she is. Back there with her will be Dean Doucette, though, and Brody Hanna, as they've laid back here trying to just let this race unfold. She'll have company with those two drivers now in this race.
And Chris, if I'm not mistaken, I don't see anybody taking a pit. Yeah, we do. Donnie Staubitz, Matt Geringer, and Brody Hanna all on pit road currently in those machines. There's Geringer in the number 11. He is on pit road. Donnie Staubitz in the 99 and Brody Hanna. It looks like none of these drivers taking tires. Yep, fuel only for those three drivers, Chris.
And those drivers, Jared, are looking to make this a strategy race. We talked earlier on, you and I, about the length that these guys can go on fuel. Almost 145 laps here, Jared. That's going to make this race a kind of split up pretty evenly. And you'll see these drivers looking to save fuel at every opportunity.
And we got some guys out here chatting, talking about Doyle Lawrence, always out here, and we appreciate Doyle. He's saying, that talking about your keys to the race, he said, don't drive the corners and kill your tires like you were talking about. And also he pointed out difficult pit entry at Richmond Raceway because it is going to be very difficult if we have some green flag pit stops. It comes up in a hurry, and we've seen some guys get into those barriers during warm-up.
That we have, Jared. Those drivers practicing that entry will be the key to this race, as they know exactly an idea, at least, of what it is that they need to do to be able to get into pit road as quickly as possible without losing the car on the entry as well. So the drivers that have already practiced that, they've got a leg up. Not everyone here tonight will have that leg up.
Very good point. And these guys got the 1 to go signal, I believe, right here. So get this thing going. Looking at everybody down the list, nobody really has moved up a whole lot, but we do have Brandon Elder. Want to give him a shout out. He's up 8 spots, started 38th on the grid, technically 39th because we had a driver that's not in the race on the grid. So he is up 8 spots from the start. So good job for him. It looks like Brody Hanna, James Torrey, and Randall Ballard all coming down pit road to top off right now. I don't think we got 1 to go, actually, so I apologize about that.
And those drivers going in and topping off, Jared, they're also able to make a little bit of adjustments to their cars, too. Here early on, it only seems like we've done roughly 8 laps, but even 8 laps give you an idea of what your car is like when you're around a bunch of drivers, like those drivers in the back of the field are.
And Randall Ballard actually looks like he's had some problems with some connection. He has just not – he got on the track and then dropped off the track, so – something going on with the 56 machine, but we are about ready to get this thing going. Troy Torgerson, the pole setter, nothing's changed there. Brian Helm and Lane Allen swap spots. Otherwise, your top 7 drivers are all the same. Top 6 drivers are the same as where they qualified.
That they are. Now Brian Helm's going to start on the outside like Lane Allen did. Lane Allen was not able to get a pretty good get a good initial start. Troy Torgerson kind of walked away from him. Now Helm's going to have the same issue, going to be looking to get down on the bottom of the apron as soon as possible.
Donnie Staubitz, late pit stop. He is barely going to get off pit road before the green flag. Here comes the pace car. Flagman holds up the flag, and we are back under racing here at Richmond Raceway. And another good spot.
Had a bad start right there. Held up the entire line, separated guys out. Definitely a lot of contact back in the midfield there, trying to avoid everyone around. He's now lost 5 positions as Jason Spear looks to go inside.
3 wide, back, way back in the pack. That looked like Wayne Grossi up in that mix. And TJ Bartel, his teammate, but they got that sorted out before they got the turn. TJ Bartel actually missing his front clip from that contact. Didn't think it was very much contact, but apparently it was. And Brandon Elder, apologies, that is an error. He did not enter pit road. He is still out there, 2x2, all the way back. And you see up there toward the front of that's Jason Spear making a move underneath Josh Mayhew for 6th.
That he is, but that outside lane, Jared, seems to be the preferred lane in these corners here. Mayhew will look to use that power out of the corner here to get around Spear on the outside.
doing a good job looking out the back of Brian Helm's machine at that battle. His teammate Jason Spear trying to make something happen. Bobby Terrell, Dale Nearad also there as well. Ralph Nolan snuck his way to the top 10. Rachel Hunt already up 6 spots from her restart position back up into 31st position. We'll keep an eye on her and see what she can do from her progress. But right now it's the Troy Torgerson show again. Already half a second lead over Lane Allen, who was able to get underneath Brian Helm. Randy McCanny up to second. Jeff Chandler moving forward. He's already up 4 spots. Chris, you talked about Jeff Chandler being a driver that could play spoiler. He's not in the playoffs, elected to give up his spot back in the regular season because of his work schedule. But he's a driver that's going to be fast every race we go to, and he's going to be a contender no matter what.
Absolutely, Jared. He's looking to get up here and early so that he can be the spoiler to these guys. Problem with that is that his teammates currently leading.
Yeah, and these guys doing a good job. Brian Helm, he's got a mirror full of Josh Mayu, another driver that has been very good. And Mike Watts is around, and something has happened to the 3 machine. Where is the 3 machine? Here, there he is. He has spun around. That is turn 2. Back in damage. Let's see what happened to Mike Watts.
Oh man, and this involves one of our playoff contenders, Wayne Grossi.
So here we go. We'll go from our drone camera here. So Grossi on the inside, Richie Coy behind him. And it looks like Wayne Grossi, and that's a little bit of net code. So the teammates net coded together, and Mike Watts spun around, and unfortunate for Mike Watts, and another caution here at Richmond.
Little unfortunate incident there between teammates. Nothing that really they could do. And Wayne Grossi got a little bit of tight coming out of the corner there, or going into the middle of the corner, just to get a little bit closer. And that's kind of one of the issues you have with this online racing type deal. Everyone doesn't have quite the same internet response. And so really your PC is kind of guessing where the other car is until it can get the actual information. And sometimes that can be about 10 inches difference.
We got some drivers on pit road. It looks like Bernard Person, Chuck Sweeting, TJ Bartell, Mike Watts, Brody Hanna, Donnie Staubitz, James Torrey all on pit road. Everybody else electing to stay out. We'll have our camera on the pit road just to see where everybody comes out. I did not see Bernard Person get any damage. Down and away, the first driver off pit road is Brody Hanna in the 23, who did, again, fuel only. Bernard Person, 23.27 seconds. So he must have hit the wall or something in that number 8 machine. Torrey will be the last guy off.
Jared, looking at that restart, it looks like he got into the back of someone and just wanted to come in and make sure that car was okay for the rest of the race.
So there you have it, already into the book, 18 laps so far. And Troy Torgerson leading, your top 5 shown at the top of your screen currently. 3 Fords, a Chevy, and a Toyota, so some pretty good parity here tonight at Richmond Raceway, Chris. And you think about this race and how it transpired back in the spring. Jeff Winter dominating that race with Tim Bills. They swapped the lead both times. They basically split the 200 laps we ran almost down the middle. I think Jeff Winter did lead about 10 laps more than Tim Bills. But Brody Hanna was the guy that ended up winning that race, leading only 17 laps in that one.
17 laps, more than enough to claim the victory here. But Jared, that was then. This is now. Whole different slew of guys up front right now contending for this win, and a lot of hungry drivers up here to boot.
Exactly right. And you look out the back of Troy Torgerson in the Abruzzi Racewear number 98, and you see there his teammate is he's got 2 teammates up in his mirrors, and that's always good to see. Lane Allen needs a rebound, Chris. He qualified second last week, spun the tires. So did Richie Coy, who was on the pole, and you saw it. I mean, it was a kind of a cluster for that point on for Lane Allen, but doing a good job recovering here tonight.
That he is trying to make up ground in the championship race just to make sure that he can do whatever he possibly can. But he's got now on the outside lane, which we've seen already have a little bit of issue here in the 2 starts that we've had so far.
So we're about ready to get this thing going green again. So again, the top 2, same as it has been pretty much the entire race. Lane Allen and Troy Torgerson started there, are currently still there. Row number 2, the 2 frontline esports drivers, Randy McCanny and Jeff Chandler. Row number 3, Brian Helm and Josh Mayu, who have dropped 2 positions respectively. Row 4, Jason Spear and Bobby Terrell. And row 5, Dale Nearad and Mark Figueroa with that awesome Crash Test Dummies Chevrolet back there that I really like the paint he has gotten on that machine. Had a good race here last night on Full Throttle TV at Richmond. We'll see what he can do. Pace car is off, and Troy Torgerson will lead him down to green. Flagman holds it, and we are back under green here at Richmond.
Much better restart for these drivers up front. However, Lane Allen still going to be stuck on behind Jeff Chandler, almost into the back of him as they're going through the corner. Lane Allen going to have a run on the outside here of Randy McCanny.
We've got a major technical issue here, so bear with me for 1 second here.
And looking up front, Troy Torgerson is easily commanding this race. Side by side behind him, though, Randy McCanny and Lane Allen, they can't decide exactly who's going to take over that second position. And behind them, Brian Helm and Jeff Chandler, they're just waiting for these drivers to get single file so that they can start making their way up front as well.
Somehow I got stuck on mouse aim, but we are good to go. Don't know how that happened, but we didn't miss much. Brandon McCanny now challenging Lane Allen off turn number 2. It's 2 by 2 as far as the eye can see behind the race leader. Torgerson stepping out because of the battling. Here we go. McCanny on the inside trying to make a move on Lane Allen. Oh, Brian Helm loose behind him.
And that's just a little bit of strategy there by 31 there, Jeff Chandler. He's got to pin to the bottom of the racetrack so that he gets loose like that so he can make his way around him on the outside. Lane Allen was able to make it work for him, put him back in the second position.
Lane Allen back to second, gets loose off the corner. Now it's Helm and Jeff Chandler battling. That's a battle for fourth. Helm drives it in deep into turn number 1. Chandler is able to roll the outside. Looks like he's going to get that position.
And all this while, Lane Allen is closing in on your leader, Torgerson, by almost a tenth of a second each lap, the last 3 laps there, Jared. As soon as he was able to stop battling with McCanny, he's really putting down some fast lap times.
Let's take a look at some other playoff contenders. There's Jason Spear. He is up to 7th, right behind Josh Mayu. Then you have Bobby Terrell and Dale Nearad. Just ahead of Mark Figueroa. Figueroa looking on the outside. We saw him do this a lot last week. Last night on Full Throttle TV, doing a good job again, using the outside, letting the 04 car make a move by himself on the outside. We got McMullen and Ralph Nolan lined up just behind Casey McMullen there as well. Kevin Rupert in there along with Andrew Polisky and Darren Bruce, your top 15. Still battling deeper in this field, Chris, and battles all over the place. Wayne Grossi in the thick of it back there in 18th. Dean Doucette also back there in 21st. Loose off the corner, trying to move forward. Bernard Person, Rachel Hunt, and Brody Hanna back in 32nd position. Rounds out your playoff drivers right now, Chris.
And interesting enough, watching Rachel Hunt back here in the back of the pack, she's riding a little bit different line than most of the drivers, kind of going into the middle, going up almost into the third lane here, just to get a little bit of speed coming off the corner. That's a little bit unique compared to everyone racing around her. 3
playoff drivers on your screen there. Dean Doucette in the 29, 16 Rachel Hunt, 8 Bernard Person. And you see there, Sure Williford not able to maintain that spot. He's going to get passed by Bernard Person. Adam Newton looks like he's going to make a move as well. Gil Gock just ahead, right behind Wayne Grossi. So we got some playoff drivers kind of on the back half of this top 20, Chris. Right now, Mike Watts and Brody Hanna, we got an accident toward the back of the pack, and one of our playoff drivers could be involved. There's Brody Hanna on the apron, and we got Mike Watts and Matt Geringer involved. Let's take a look. Brandon Elder might have been caught up as well. So here we go. We got Chuck Sweeting ahead of Brody Hanna here. We're zooming out to our copter cam here to get a good angle on what is going on here. Oh, and it's Kenneth Schultz. Hits the wall, comes back in front of Brandon Elder. Oh, and hard impact for Mike Watts, who got stuck in the wall, and Brody Hanna gets some damage out of that as well. So that is not going to be good for one of our playoff contenders.
No, it's not, Jared. We talked about how he was just trying to ride around back there and let the race come to him with accidents around in front of him. Fortunately, sometimes you can get caught up in them like he did there.
We got drivers on pit road, but let's take another look at this wreck from Brandon Elder's perspective here. So you see right in front of him, so Kenneth Schultz in the 91 on the outside, and you'll see DJ Bartel in this battle as well. And Schultz just gets loose and just clips the back end. Nowhere for Brandon Elder to go, and he comes down into, oh, he gets hit by his teammate, Donnie Staubitz, as well. And Elder gets out of the way, and somebody hits him again. Couldn't tell who that was.
And Jared, this has really changed the race there for Brody Hanna. He's going to be looking to make repairs to that car. Doesn't look terrible at the moment, but he's certainly going to be hurting for some power, at least on that left side. He got hit pretty hard with the number 3 machine.
Well, as that was going on, we did have some pit stops, so it's easier to tell you who did not pit. So Bobby Terrell, Dean Doucette, Rachel Hunt have not pitted at all. Bernard Person pitted on the last caution on lap 17. Then we have Sher Williford, Adam Newton, Tony Solari, Donnie Staubitz. None of those drivers have pitted, Donnie Staubitz pitted on 18. So your top 8 did not pit this last caution. 2 of those drivers pitted on lap 18. Behind them, Troy Torgerson and Lane Allen, Randy McCanny. Your top 3 coming into the pits come out 1, 2, 3, but they'll be 9th, 10th, and 11th on the track. So everybody behind these guys all pitted on 31. We do have about 4 drivers getting extensive repairs on pit road right now.
We're on lap 33, Jared, and these drivers are already needing or wanting to come down for tires. That just shows how abrasive that this track can wear on tires here, and just the fall off on time alone.
Kenneth Schultz barely beating the pace car off pit road, and we count that there was 7 cars involved in that wreck. That's pretty big wreck for Richmond. Kenneth Schultz, Chuck Sweeting, Brody Hanna, Brandon Elder, Mike Watts, Matt Geringer, all with damage from that accident.
And Jared, it happened on the front straightaway here, which is a little bit one of the most tricky front straightaways kind of in the NASCAR circuit, just because you're so far in the throttle, but you're also still turning that car to the left. It makes it a little bit harder when accidents happen there, just because it's so much harder to check up because your car is already sliding basically around the whole front straightaway.
I think Donnie Staubitz got very lucky. Looking at that replay again, it looked like Brandon Elder got warped through. So Donnie Staubitz actually didn't get any damage out of it. And get Matt Geringer, unfortunately, in the wrong place at the wrong time. Didn't look like the 18 machine may have been on the brakes there and slid down into the 11 trying to avoid the wreck, unfortunately. But we got some of those drivers back out on the track right now in the garage. Randall Ballard, Chad Lang, Brandon Elder, Mike Watts, Chuck Sweeting, Matt Geringer, John Held, all on pit road or out of the race. Right now, Matt Geringer has rejoined. So has John Held, and we are about ready to get this thing going again. Bobby Terrell will lead him down. Dean Doucette alongside. Green flag back out here at Richmond.
And Bobby Terrell gets a not that great of a restart, as Dean Doucette is going to take the advantage of the outside lane. Looks like he's going to have the lead going through too.
Dean Doucette on the high side. Bernard Person following him through. Adam Newton as well. And you got Tony Solari sneaking a look down the inside. Dean Doucette to the lead. Playoff drivers battling in your top 3.
That they are. And these drivers on a little bit different strategy here, Jared. These drivers want to get up here and lead a lap to try to get that bonus point just to get them that much farther away from the cut line.
Bobby Terrell drops to 3rd. He's got Adam Newton all over his back bumper. Rachel Hunt in there as well. So is Sher Williford. Donnie Staubitz still hung on at the outside with Tony Solari. That's a battle for 8th position. Tony Solari doing a good job on the inside. He's got Troy Torgerson, and Lane Allen has been able to make his way through some of these drivers on old tires. Torgerson hung up behind Solari right now.
It all comes down to lane choice, but this puts drivers back in the back. Ooh, a little bit of a shake-up there, right there in front of Troy Torgerson and McCanny. Believe that was
Solari. Solari loose off the corner, still loose. He has dropped all the way from 8th place, and he's continuing to drop down the panel, dropping all the way to the back of the field. My goodness, that was some good heads-up driving by Solari and everybody behind him, because we could have had a big wreck there. But back up front, it is still Bobby Terrell. Troy Torgerson had to hold his breath for a second there almost. Could have been a big accident, but he does lose some positions as Jeff Chandler gets around. Oh, Torgerson may have hit the wall coming off turn 4. Still going straight, though.
And up front, Dean Doucette has Bernard Person all in his rearview mirror, Jared, as he's looking to get up there and lead him a lap to get that bonus point.
Bernard Person comes into this race second in leading the points, as Troy Torgerson's already advanced to the next round. So right now he would be our point leader, if you will, with Troy Torgerson already advanced. So Dean Doucette and Bernard Person checking out right now. Bobby Terrell losing a little bit of ground. Adam Newton doing a good job in fourth. Rachel Hunt on behind him, followed by Sherwood Williford and Lane Allen up to seventh place. He's the leader on the drivers with fresh tires, with Jeff Chandler and Brian Helm chasing him right now.
Jared, you mentioned that Bernard Person is in that leading points position. Those playoff drivers, as we got them 3 wide. Brian Helm back here getting completely sideways, coming out of the corner. He's going to drop like a rock.
Big time save and big time driving from Brian Helm, but he's going to lose a ton of time. 4 spots. McCanny scrapes the wall. These guys are using every inch of the track, and Helm is trying to go back under him. That's a battle for 8th, all the way up to 8th place right now. McCanny lets Helm in.
What an insane little corner that was, as Sherwood Williford was caught on the far outside there. That put Jeff Chandler and Brian Helm in a bind as they were going 3 wide through the corner. That's a little bit difficult here to do, Jared. They were able to make it work. Now Brian Helm going to go easily around Sherwood Williford, gather this car back up, and it looks like Lane Allen's getting around Hunt up at the front of the track.
Jump on board the 14 machine of Lane Allen. He is cutting through this field right now. He is up to 5th place, gets around Rachel Hunt. He's got Adam Newton, but he has got to look in his rearview mirror because Jeff Chandler and Troy Torgerson are both coming right now. Oh, and he almost cuts down in front of Jeff Chandler there. Chandler with a great run through the middle of the corner. I don't think Lane Allen was expecting it, and Chandler had to get out of the gas a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely think that Jeff Chandler there gave him a little bit more room than he will probably at the end of the race. Definitely a close call for these drivers.
And we had Doyle Lawrence out there asking about the pit window, 55 to 145, so they can go 145 laps on fuel. So if anybody pitted here in the next 10 laps, they can make it to the end if it went green for sure. But right now, Lane Allen moving his way to 4th place underneath Adam Newton. So that's going to put the fresh tires right on the back of these top 3 drivers here that haven't pitted yet. Rachel Hunt loose off the corner. Sherwood Williford's tagged.
Sherwood Williford, and that's Jason Spear caught up in it as well.
And we still have a green on the track. Now it's yellow because those guys looks like late yellow, but that is another playoff contender who is running in the top 10. He's got hefty damage on the front of that, Chris.
Yeah, that's going to make for an interesting night for Jason Spear. He's going to be working the rest of the night to try to get that damage repaired. And that's just the unfortunate side effect of racing at a short track like this where tires matter so much. Sherwood Williford there on the older tires, Jason Spear on the newer ones, put him almost 3 wide again, and that's kind of what happened there.
Yeah, and Sherwood got a little bit loose there. Jason Spear, wrong place, wrong time, and that is going to be hefty damage to the number 83 machine. Dean Doucette, the only other leaders to come down pit road. You see him lonely feeling. We do have Adam Newton, who is back in 14th. Donnie Staubitz also in. Randy McCanny, it looks like, has decided to pit again. Or is that is not Randy McCanny? Apologies. That is Casey McMullen. And Chris, we got Doyle out here, watching the race along with us. Noticing a lot of drivers scraping that wall off turn 4. How is that going to affect these guys going on? I mean, you can't keep hitting that wall and expect these cars to handle good.
Absolutely not. You need that right side downforce to kind of keep you off of the road, and that's kind of what we're seeing here as these guys continue to catch that outside wall with that side. It's just going to be more and more likely that they'll do it the rest of the race.
Yeah, and that's that little bit of damage can influence. Richmond always been, even though it's a short track, always been a little bit of an aero track. But give you guys a rundown of what's going on in the race right now. Randall Ballard on pit road. You see him there, damage. Brandon Elder on pit road with damage. Mike Watts has taken his car to the garage. Kenneth Schultz has taken his car to the garage, as has Chad Lang. Actually, Kenneth Schultz back out there now, and Chad Lang is as well. Chuck Sweeting has taken his car to the garage. back to the pits, apologies, and Jason Spear on pit road, along with Matt Geringer and James Torrey. So we got a lot of contenders, Chris, with damage, but Jason Spear, out of all of our playoff drivers, he's definitely taken the biggest hit tonight.
That he has, Jared, and at this point, he's going to be a little bit behind the ball. He's going to kind of just get out here, run laps as he possibly can, and hope that other drivers fall out of contention here for the rest of the night.
Now, since we have a second, let's bring up these playoff standings here and show you guys everything that's going on as before the race came in tonight. So all the drivers in gray are in. So if you missed the top of the show, Tim Bills out of the playoffs due to a scoring error. Brian Helm into the playoffs because of that scoring error. Also, Jeff Winter has been withdrawn from the playoffs, so that leaves us with 15 total drivers in the playoffs right now, and that's how they stack up coming into this race. Troy Torgerson, the only one that has advanced officially, but you look at it, Jason Spear only 4 points above the cut line, and he was running in the top 10 looking for a good run, and now he's going to have to go into recovery mode because you look behind him, Lane Allen's up front, Randy McKinney's up front. This is going to make it a little bit hard on Jason Spear.
That it is, and we know that he had a good car to contend here tonight. I mean, at the moment, Bernard Persson, his teammate, is up here leading the race. That is actually the best news for Jason. As long as one of his teammates can get up here and win, or Troy Torgerson, that'll keep the playoffs at least interesting, and he can go on next week and try to do a win and you're in at Bristol.
And Bristol is going to be an excellent race. But we're re-racking them, and that's going to be Bernard Persson and Bobby Terrell. Persson pitted on lap 17. Bobby Terrell has not pitted yet through 50 laps. Everybody behind him has pitted at least one time here tonight, most recently on lap 31. But here we go. Pace car is off, and the flag man holds the flag up, and we are about ready to go back to green. Green flag back out here at Richmond. Great start by both drivers on the front row.
There was very little spinning on the tires by both of these drivers. Kudos to them. Lane Allen, though, and Jeff Chandler, they're battling side by side heavily for that third position. Jeff Chandler going to make the outside work.
Jeff Chandler to the outside. He's going to look on the outside of Bobby Terrell going through turn number 3. What a move by the 31 machine. That's going to pin Lane Allen in. Troy Torgerson in almost contact with Lane Allen.
And that's just the difference between fresher tires, as Jeff Chandler is able to make that outside work. And now he's right there on Persson going into 3.
Got some drivers still scraping the wall off turn 2, apologies. Lane Allen now goes to the high side. He's got to get around Bobby Terrell, otherwise he's going to lose spots. And Jeff Chandler's going for the lead.
Trying to get the lead away from Bernard Persson. Is able to do so going on the bottom here, just with those fresher tires, Jared. That makes all the differences. Now he's up to the lead. Now Lane Allen going to be looking to get around Persson on his fresher tires, bringing Brian Helm and Randy McKinney with him.
Brian Helm taking the outside around Bobby Terrell. Bobby Terrell not giving up the inside, but I can't blame him. But he's, it's hard to get around the outside. Troy Torgerson, who led the opening stanza of this race, he is out on the outside as well, trying to get around. Bobby Terrell would jump on board, and he is loose, Chris, right now.
That he is, with those little bit fresher tires. Loose is definitely fast at any track. However, it definitely makes you have to lift a little bit more early on in a run. Still able to make it work, and no worries so far in this race.
On board, Jeff Chandler, and it's clear sailing for the number 31 of Bruzy Ford as he has taken over the point for the first time tonight. But now we got a battle for second. Brian Helm to the inside of his teammate, Bernard Persson. Helm loose off turn 4.
Incredibly loose off of the corner there is Helm. He made a daredevil move as he kind of bombarded and got underneath Lane Allen and Persson all in that one corner. He was definitely driving that car hard.
On board Lane Allen in the number 14 machine. He's wanting to take advantage of Bernard Persson. He gets underneath Bernard Persson for third place.
And right behind him, Troy Torgerson, the 98, had to check out of the throttle there to keep from getting into the back of Lane Allen just because he was that much faster through the middle of the corner. Jared, this race is incredibly frustrating if you're these drivers on the fresher tires and not able to get around the drivers like Persson.
Persson doing a good job on the outside. Looked like Lane Allen had him cleared. Might have called that a little bit premature. And Lane Allen might have to stick back in line. It looks like Bernard Persson with a great run off 4. Lane Allen drives back underneath of him in turn 1, but he just can't get the run off the corner right now, Chris.
No, he can't. Bernard Persson's putting pressure on Lane Allen, trying to force him to stay down on that yellow line, and that's making his car all that more loose coming up out of the corner, not able to get into the throttle near as well as that number 8 machine.
And you still see it, and this is what this is doing. Look at the gap from our drone cam. Lane Allen slides up the racetrack, and that's going to cost some time. And now we got James Torrey wrecking in the back of the field. I think we're going to stay green. Torrey is good. He must have just hit the wall, so we are going to stay green. But back up here to this battle, it is allowing Brian Helm and Jeff Chandler to just check out of this race right now.
That they are. Now Person been able to get back in front of Allen, and pretty easily so, using that outside lane. I thought Lane Allen was trying to push Person up into that higher groove so that way he could diamond the corner a little bit better there and be able to get the run off the corner and get around the 8 machine, but it just seems like that was not possible. Now Torgerson's trying to do everything he can to get around Lane Allen in the 14.
Keep in mind, Bobby Terrell, right in this battle, he has not pitted yet. So he has got the oldest tires. Andrew Poliski up the track behind him. He's trying to make a move on the outside. Richie Coy, another playoff driver in that battle as well. And Poliski moving forward right now. But Bernard Person doing a good job. He's got slightly fresher tires than Bobby Terrell, but he pitted on lap 17. But you look at it, Jeff Chandler already out to a 2-second lead right now over third place Bernard Person. Brian Helm starting to inch back and close up on the gap, though.
Well, you mentioned that. Then coming out of the corner, Brian Helm get a little bit loose, give a little bit more of that time back up. But it seems like these two drivers up front, each one of them has a corner that works a little bit better than the other.
And that's a really good observation, Chris. Let's bring up our sector times to show everybody at home what's going on between these drivers. So right there, you see Brian Helm just a click faster through Sector 1 than Jeff Chandler, about a 10th quicker. Let's see what it is through Sector 2. So that Sector 1 is 1 and 2, and actually Brian Helm doing a good job through both those corners.
Yeah, certainly a good job there for that driver. Not really getting too close to Jeff Chandler. Not closing in too terribly much, but still closing in, Jared, here. It looks like coming through 3 and 4 is where he's currently the strongest. He's really good at the entry to the corner. Jeff Chandler may be a little bit better coming out of each corner.
We also have bad news. Jason Spear back on pit road. So one of our playoff contenders having the night he has not wanted. Dean Doucette, Chris, and maybe you can help us out here. He has shown 1 lap down, so we have missed something with the number 29 machine. Maybe you can help us out and see what happened with him.
We'll certainly go back and take a look at it. Jason Spear, not really a lengthy stop here as he's able to come back out on the track here. Not really sure why it was that he had to come into pits, but it's going to definitely put him at least a lap down here, Jared.
A lap down, and that is going to be terrible news for one of the playoff contenders. Also, as we said, Dean Doucette also shown a lap down. Was not involved in any incident, but I wonder if he got a penalty, maybe passing under the yellow or entering a closed pit. That may have been he had to serve that under green. But as we said, we'll get an update on that. But right now it is Jeff Chandler and Brian Helm that have taken over this race. They are leading by 2.5 seconds over Bernard Person with some old tires. And really right now, Troy Torgerson and Randy McCanny, they can't get Lane Allen. They just can't get around that 8 machine of Bernard Person right now. As we are approaching halfway in the race, you look back further, Dale Nearad in here. Bobby Terrell, who is yet to pit, is doing a great job in 9th. And we got a wreck, and we're under yellow. It's Josh Johnson, the 05. So let's take a look here. He's around his teammate Darren Bruce. And, he just gets loose off the corner, holds onto it, and then doesn't hold onto it. And TJ Bartel, again, nowhere to go. That's twice tonight. He has been right in the middle of something out of his control. And heavy impact for the 88. The 05, I think, is going to be good to roll on.
Yeah, not as much damage to the 05, but definitely a big impact for the TJ Bartel in that 88.
Oh, we got a faker. Jeff Chandler comes down. Brian Helm stays out. And Richie Coy is going to stay out with him, but everybody else coming in. Mark Figueroa staying out as well. So we got some split strategy coming up, Chris. This is what I like.
And going back and looking at it, looks like Dean Doucette just had a lengthy pit stop, and that's why he fell a lap down.
Well, he could have, and that's a really good observation, Chris, because he could have just gotten caught out. Yeah, 52nd pit stop, very strange. Maybe a speeding on entering, that could have been it. It's hard to say, but right now that is tough for Dean Doucette in the 29 machine who came in. But Jeff Chandler on pit road, Chris, and everybody else kind of faking out. We got here. Let's keep an update here and just see how this thing has shaken out. So Brian Helm, Richie Coy, Mark Figueroa, Darren Bruce, Brody Hanna all did not pit on this last sequence. Donnie Staubitz and Adam Newton pitted 15 laps ago on our last caution. Everybody behind them has just pitted on 71. So this is going to be very interesting to see how this shakes up.
That it is, Jared, and that's going to give Brian Helm the lead here, and certainly going to be good for him as he was trying to make his way up. But now that's going to put a couple of drivers in the back of the field that we've seen, again, that were already really good, up at the front of the pack here early on that are going to have to make their way through. And, Jared, that's not been easy so far.
Yeah, you better get that hiccup bag out, Chris. But we are actually going to jump on, and we're going to talk to our in-race reporter, Mr. Ralph Nolan. Ralph, you got your ears on. It's Chris and Jared up in the booth.
Hey, gentlemen, how we doing tonight?
Not too bad, Ralph. We've been following your progress. It's been an up and down night. How's the racing out there at Richmond tonight?
Race has been pretty hard. Right now, it seems like whatever line I'm in is the slowest line. I'm just the car's struggling, but a lot of hard racing, a lot of side by side, and it's good hard racing so far. Been pretty clean, but it's been good racing so far.
Well, we saw you make it up to the top 10, and then you kind of switched it up, made a pit strategy call coming in on lap 71. How are the tires feeling as this race goes on? Do you think they're going to be a factor, or you think it's all going to come down to who has some sets left in the pits?
Right now, I'm kind of hoping that we get some long runs, because if it goes down to who's left, with how many sets are left, I'm going to be in a little bit of trouble. We only got 2 sets, so it just depends. If we have a wreck fest, then I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But if we go long green runs and then we have some quick cautions at the end, that might be a factor.
Ralph there on your screen in the number 95 Employernomics Chevrolet. Ralph, you're a playoff contender. Some drivers in the playoffs having some issues tonight. We saw Jason Spear, Brody Hanna, and also Dean Doucette with some issues. Are you feeling pretty confident about the race moving forward as we're about ready to go back to green?
We're just trying to keep a clean car. Right now, we're not doing so good on the green flags. We're getting past a lot. So right now, we just got to try to stay out of trouble, and we'll see where we get.
All right, Ralph, thanks for talking with us, and best of luck in the rest of the race.
No problem. Have a good night.
Chris, that was Ralph Nolan Jr., and we are about ready to go back to green. Brian Helm and Richie Coy will lead him down. They did not pit the last time by. Neither did Figueroa and Darren Bruce, and we are back under green. Good start by Richie Coy. Brian Helm spins the tires.
That's the second time tonight that we've seen Brian Helm do that here. Seems to be having a little bit of an issue on these restarts. Going to easily give the lead up to Richie Coy. And now behind him, Bruce in that 06 machine takes over the third position, but he is really fast. Coming quickly. It looks like he's going to be all over the back end of Brian Helm in the 26 before long.
Darren Bruce in the K2B Motorsports number 06 there. He is doing a good job, but behind them, there is some battling going on. Donnie Staubitz and Brody Hanna, they got fresh tires all over the back end of them.
That they do, and Brody Hanna has been doing whatever he can to make his positions up here after being involved in that first incident, or the second incident, my bad. Jeff Chandler easily going around the number 99 there of Donnie Staubitz on the outside, bringing teammate Troy Torgerson and Rennie McCanny with him.
And boy, and Adam Newton, a little bit of a bump to Brody Hanna through the corner there. It looks like he's just not getting off the corner very good. And Mark Figueroa slides up the track, almost gets into Troy Torgerson just ahead of there. Torgerson side by side with Figueroa. Randy McCanny trying to cut the gap as well, and he does, and that was all very close as Figueroa got loose entering the corner.
And Del Nurad in that 03 machine dove down to try to get to the bottom there to get around Donnie Staubitz in that 99 machine. Able to make it work, but definitely a risky move. Had nowhere to go because he had the 04 in front of him of Mark Figueroa, and Mark just did not go nearly as fast as Nerad would have liked.
Figueroa washes up the track. Nerad washed up the track as well. Chandler gets loose in front of these guys. We're on board Nerad, and we've got a whole gaggle of cars up here. Somebody else is up here as well that's kind of sliding around. That's Darren Bruce. Chandler gets underneath them, but loses some time trying to pass Darren Bruce there, Chris. Lost 3 positions.
Yeah, both of his teammates there got around him, the 98 and the 27, easily there without contest. Now he's going to have to gather it back up to get back up there. Now, Troy Torgerson, who led early here is on the back of Brian Helm in that 26 machine with those fresh tires.
Dale Nerad trying to find a way around Figueroa, and Donnie Staubitz was looking all the way on the outside of the track, all the way up in the 3rd groove. I don't know if that's a wise decision, but Staubitz loose. Holy cow. Bobby Terrell lets him gather it up, but my goodness, these guys are racing like we got 5 laps to go back here.
That they are. Nerad's going to be the beneficiary of that one, as that prevented him from being stuck behind those 2 cars with the older tires.
3 wide.
Outside road.
3 wide. Donnie Staubitz in the sandwich. This isn't going to work, fellas. And there we go. They made it work. Oh, Staubitz contact. Holds on to it. Poliski in the wall.
And Jared, this is going to be a massive crash here behind them.
Solari involved. Poliski actually involved in that wreck, but he's going to actually keep going. But that was a wreck waiting to happen right there. And you saw it right there live. And I'm going to catch my breath and take a look at this replay. So here we go. Gil Gach actually gives a little bit of shot to Josh Mayu getting into the corner. We didn't see that before. Staubitz loose and oh my goodness. Tony Solari up the track. Hard impact. We'll have to get another replay of this one because the drivers involved all at the back there. Let's take a look and see what happened. Tony Solari, we saw him flying through the air. So here we go. There's Tony Solari in the 74. He's 3 wide. Lane Allen's also back here. You see Staubitz at the top of your screen. Contact, and Mayu nowhere to go. Solari nowhere to go. Flies up. Wayne Grossi might have gotten involved there. John Held involved. Matt Geringer, TJ Bartel. There is a lot of drivers and some championship drivers also caught up in that, Chris.
Yeah, you mentioned Wayne Grossi. Casey McMullen also involved in this one. He has a lot of front-end damage to that 71 machine. Drivers that got lucky there, Lane Allen and Dean Doucette and Bernard Person, they were all back there in that mess as well. All 3 of those drivers were able to get through without incident.
Let's say, look, on board Casey McMullen, you see Gil Gach way up the track, Solari right in front of him. He is sandwiched. There's the wreck happening. Nowhere to go. I mean, this thing happened so close. Ralph Nolan, the driver we just talked to, involved. And then somebody, Chris, I'm not sure who it was, came flying in late there. And
that would be the number 10 machine that flew in there right at the end, Jared. Just with nowhere to go here, John Held kind of locked it up, and he just slid through everyone.
And there you see it. And Casey, yeah, and John, let's see here. Yeah, John Held. Oh, that's aggressive. I'll say that much. John Held very much may have not seen what was going on in front of him. I can only assume. But that is tough break for Wayne Grossi and Casey Mullins. Significant damage on that. But as that was going on, just to keep you updated on everything going on live, the leaders did pit. So that puts Darren Bruce on pit road. We also had Brian Helm come down pit road and get that car all fixed up and ready to go. So that's going to turn the lead over back to Troy Torgerson here on lap 87, Chris.
That it will, and that's going to put 3 frontline esports drivers up 1, 2, 3 here with the 98, 27, and 31. And Jared, that's going to make it a little bit more interesting because we talked about Jeff Chandler being a little bit of a wild card here in this race. Well, now he's got 2 teammates in front of him. How do you manage to get around these 2 teammates without also interfering in their playoff picture?
You know, and I don't want to speak for Jeff Chandler, but I think, he's out here to win races. And I think that, he's got his teammates there. I think he'd be happy if, Randy McCanny got the win because that would get him through to the next round. But I think he wants to go out here and show that he's got the car to beat no matter what the race is. So I just wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Chandler goes for it regardless of who's in front of him. But Jeff is a pretty solid guy, so I don't know. Maybe he'll play the team game.
Absolutely. I think you're right. Jeff doesn't want to ruin their races by any mean, but he's up here to win. I mean, that's the whole goal here. As a competitor here, you cannot let someone get a position on you just because they're your teammate, especially not in the playoffs. I mean, let's be real. We know it happens in the real world. So a driver will give up a position or two to help out a teammate, but you're not going to give up a win. It's just too important in this series.
And keep in mind, we're under fifth caution of the night, lap 88. Sixth caution of the night, apologies. We're about ready to get going back to green. Pace car off. Flagman holds him, and green flag back out as the Frontline Esports drivers lead him down into turn one. Even restart by both those drivers.
Definitely even restart. And every time we've seen that, the outside lane has seemed to prevail. Randy McKinney, he's going to make it work on that outside. He's easily going to take the lead away from his teammate. Just could not get out of the corner. That outside lane now is really flying here. Del Nurad was easily able to take away second position.
Nurad tried to look on the outside. McKinney will get that lap led, so he'll get that one bonus point. Talked to Randy before the race. He said, I don't know. I don't like Richmond. It's not my favorite track. And here he is, lading here 90 laps into the race. Torgerson will slide into third. And now Jeff Chandler under heat from Bobby Terrell.
And look behind Terrell. You've got Rachel Hunt there, who's made an incredible comeback from the beginning part of this race, where she was involved in that first caution. Now back up here in the sixth position.
Bill Benedict, penalty. He is on pit road to serve that drive-through penalty for the 90 machine. So tough break for Bill Benedict, who is running in the top 20. Rachel Hunt there. You see Adam Newton. Shout out to Adam Newton. First year in this series, 7th place right now. Wayne Allen, who avoided that wreck by just margins, is working his way back through the field as well. So we'll have to see what the 14 car can do. But right now, it's all Randy McKinney, but he's got Dale Nurad all over his back bumper as we look out the back of the number 27 machine.
And Nurad, it gets a little bit of loose coming out of the corner there, but still able to maintain pace with the 27 machine. He wants to get up here and lead this race as well, but to do so, he's got a tough competitor ahead of him. Randy McKinney is not going to make it easy, Jared.
No, he's not. And you got to remember, coming into this race, aside from Jeff Winter, who's now been removed from the playoff bracket, Randy McKinney came into this race dead last in the playoff table, Chris, so he needs all the points he can get.
That he does, but beyond that, a win up here would just mean that much more, give him a little bit of a breathing room going into Bristol, which is already a difficult track as it is. Now you're going to add the playoffs into it. That's going to make people all that much more worried going into that race.
Randy McKinney, and you watch out the back end, and as I was watching, Chris, you noticed Dale Nurad trying to find some grip, moving up the racetrack a little bit, but he is awfully loose off the corners.
That he is. That's just the way he has his car set up in hopes that it tightens on the long run. He's not only loose coming out of the corner, Jared, he's a little bit loose coming into the corner as well. In the middle of the corner, he's sliding a little bit more than the drivers around him. That's not good news for those tires. That's going to just continue to heat them throughout this run.
Well, Chris, let's jump on the cockpit of Dale Nurad, and maybe you could take us around a lap here at Richmond Raceway and see how Dale Nurad's driving this car.
Absolutely. We're going to come up to the front stretch here, and it's a front stretch, but you can see he's got that wheel turned to the left here. He's over-revving the car already about almost as soon as he gets to the start-finish line, Jared. Coming out of the corner here, you're going to look at him. He's turning right to try to catch that car. Just a little bit loose coming out of the corner. Really having to turn hard in the middle of the corner here. 3 and 4, you can see he's getting a little bit more tight than McKinney, but he's closing up to the bumper of that machine.
Battle up there. The top 6 have pulled out. Adam Newton has now gotten around Lane Allen for 7th, but Lane Allen tucking in. Darren Bruce up into 9th place, so he's recovered nicely. And Richie Coy, who pitted on the last stop, back up to 10th place in the number 19. Bernard Person, I want to check in on him, who came in 2nd there on that pit stop. He is back up to 12th position. So that's where we're standing right now. McKinney has a mirror full of Dale Nurad. Torgerson, though, putting a little bit of pressure on Dale. I raced hard with Troy Torgerson on Thursday night. Unfortunately, because of some iRacing issues that caused the server crash, I was one of the unlucky drivers that got knocked out of it. So we didn't get to finish our battle with 10 laps to go. But Troy Torgerson's got this place figured out. And I think he is just sitting here waiting as this race continues on.
I would have to say you're right. We talked about it earlier in the race. He's not got to get up here and lead laps. He just needs to get up here and have a good finish. He's already into the next round. Just getting up here and getting a win, all that's going to do is give him a little bit more advantage going into that second round.
Yeah, there is still playoff points at play for Troy Torgerson. So if he wins tonight, that's 3 additional playoff points that he gets to carry into the round of 12. And as the computer generated model says, Troy Torgerson is looking at being your champion. The computer likes Troy Torgerson. I talked to Troy before the race, before the playoffs started, and he said that puts some extra incentive and some extra pressure on that 98 team to get it done. And he answered the bell in the first race, and he's following up here tonight at Richmond.
That he is. Now his teammates of Randy McKinney is looking to punch his way into the second round, but to do so, he's going to have to fend off Dale Nearad, Jeff Chandler, Bobby Terrell, and Rachel Hunt. Hunt having a little bit of an issue as she seems to be getting really tight coming out of the corner. She's kind of lost a little bit of time to that number 5 machine.
Oh, we got a yellow flag. It's Adam Newton from 7th place. What has happened to the 20 machine of Adam Newton? Heavy damage on that machine, and something has gone awry for the driver that is having such a great night. So here he is. He had dropped off a couple spots. And let's see. Here he comes into the corner. Josh Johnson there. Oh, and I don't think he saw Josh Johnson make the move, or maybe it was a late move by Josh Johnson and gets spun around. Heavy impact. But that car was in some kind of incident before that, because there was a lot more damage than the last time we talked to. I saw him on the track.
Yeah, Jared, he had gotten loose out of the corner and got up into the wall a couple of laps previously. So at that point, that car was already ill handling, and I think that's just a finishing off move there to that number 20 machine. Rough night now ahead for that driver.
Yeah, a little bit deep driving by Josh Johnson. Maybe a little bit late turn in by Adam Newton. Tough call there between those two drivers, but hard for Adam Newton. Mark Figueroa is our lucky dog. Richie Coy stays out, but everybody else coming in. Troy Torgerson in, Lane Allen in. Let's take a look and see who wins the race off pit road here, and we'll catch everybody else up as they get around the track. So here we go. That is Darren Bruce first off pit road. That's a surprise. Followed by McCanny, Dale Nearad, Troy Torgerson, Jeff Chandler, Bobby Terrell, Rachel Hunt, Lane Allen, then a group of drivers. That is the 96, the 8, the 75, the 1, the 23. Dean Doucette also coming off pit road along with TJ Bartel and Donnie Staubitz. That's your pitters right there, Chris. But here are the drivers that stayed out. Richie Coy. And now Casey McMullen also is coming down pit road now. He did stay out to try to lead a lap, but Coy stayed out as well. So Richie Coy, the only driver that stayed out this time, Chris. That's got to be a gamble for him.
It's a gamble that's not going to pay out dividends.
So he's got 20 lap older tires than everybody except Mark Figueroa, who is the lucky dog. He is electing not to pit right here. At least right now he's not pitting, or maybe he's not eligible to pit just yet. But everybody else has pitted on lap 104 or right around that time.
And Jared, that could just be Richie Coy trying to save an extra set of tires here in this race, so that way he doesn't have to worry about not having them at the end of this race. With the way that this race so far has been going, that seems like a smart move, as it seems like we can get about 20 to 25 laps in before we have a caution.
And I was about to say, we talked to Ralph Nolan Jr. on that last caution, and he said that he only had 2 sets of tires left. So these guys got to be, 2 sets of tires left. So these guys have got to already be starting to think about tire strategy.
Absolutely, Jared. And one thing here in the virtual world that these drivers can't do that they can do in the real world, you can't put on a set of tires you've already used. Once you've used them here, that's a one and done type thing. So those tires are gone for the rest of the night. You can't get them back.
Exactly right. That's a really good point to bring up, Chris. As these guys, some of these guys could be down to their last sets of tires here soon.
And we just crossed halfway a couple of laps ago, Jared. And at this point, if you've used all those tires up, it's going to be a rough night going forward, especially if we get a caution with like 20 to go. Drivers are just going to fly by you on fresher tires. So
right now we have 23 drivers shown on the lead lap. Ralph Nolan, the last of, and you see there missing the front clip from that accident 2 cautions ago. Josh Mayu just there ahead of him, 22nd. Brian Hellman, 21st. Wayne Grossi in 19th. Donnie Staubitz in 20th, as we're about ready to get going again here tonight. Richie Coy will lead him down. He's on the old tires. Darren Bruce did not take tires. He did pit last time, so a little bit of correction for me. Fuel only stop for the 06 right now. Pace car is off. Richie Coy, Darren Bruce on the front row. Flagman holds the flag. Early green flag, and we're right back underway.
And good job by Richie Coy not spinning those older tires. Same with Bruce on the outside there. Bruce kind of kept with Coy, but it doesn't look like he's going to have the momentum off the corner. Give the lead to Coy coming out of the corner.
Richie Coy, the short track driver up in New England, runs the NEMA lights up there in real life. He won at we got 3 wide. Dale Nearad on the outside and contact. Darren Bruce into Randy McCanney. And that's going to keep us green. And that is playoff racing, I guess, is all you can say there.
Yeah, going 3 wide out of that corner, a big mistake by those 2 drivers there. Kudos to McKinney for being able to get that car back on the track without causing an accident here. And Jared, that's just an unfortunate event. Now he's got to work his way back up to the front of the field. He's already so far behind in this cutoff race. He's going to have to do everything he possibly can to get back up here early and quickly.
It was an aggressive move by Dale Nearad, forced it 3 wide. And the beneficiary was Dale Nearad. And Richie Coy slides up the racetrack, nearly hits the wall coming off 4. Nearad's going to take over the lead.
Nearad takes over the lead, going to bring Jeff Chandler with him under the 19 machine. He's easily going to take away that second machine. Those cars all loose on the track here, Jared, as it looks like Dale Nearad got the rear end of that car up almost onto the wall again.
Dale Nearad won at Bristol Dirt. He also won moving forward at Kansas, to grab his second win to get himself really locked into the playoffs. But my goodness, Dale Nearad is flying right now. Jeff Chandler trying to chase him down. Richie Coy there with Rachel Hunt right on his back bumper. Bobby Terrell, Troy Torgerson, your top 6. Then there's a gaggle back here. Darren Bruce in this group, Brody Hanna, Lane Allen, Bernard Person. Oh, it's contact between Bruce and Hanna. Bruce holds onto it, sliding, and he holds onto it somehow. Rupert hits him in the rear end, but they're going to keep going.
Wow. What an incredible driving there by the 06 of Darren Bruce as he's able to keep that machine out of the wall, and every one of those drivers behind him avoided him in that melee. An incredible feat by a lot of these different drivers.
Bruce on those older tires, it's just not working out for him right now as he tries to get himself back in line. But up front, Dale Nearad, 85 laps to go. Made a 3 wide pass on Dale Nearad, on Darren Bruce and Randy McCanney. McCanney unfortunately tagged there in the door, spun, but kept the car going. Nearad to the front, McCanney down to 15th right now. But up front, Nearad still sliding that car coming off the corner. Chris, he's got to be using this thing up.
He certainly has to be, Jared, and he's going to be feeling it here in a couple of laps when Chandler is all on that back bumper. Right now, though, Rachel Hunt easing herself away from Richie Coy on the outside. She is definitely making that machine work. She is electing to choose a little bit higher line here to get around these drivers. Bobby Terrell now looking to get underneath Coy on the inside. A little bit harder to pass on that inside, as we've documented earlier.
Bobby Terrell looking on the inside of Richie Coy right now. Richie loose off the corner. Now remember, he's got 20 lap older tires than just about the entire field right now, trying to do everything he can. But he does have that advantage on tire sets if he's able to just stay out of trouble. Terrell looking on the inside, but the top 3 continue to scoot away from the rest of the pack. Terrell makes the move. Torgerson trying to follow him through.
And Richie Coy is doing everything he possibly can to pin these drivers to that yellow line and make it hard for them to get up on the throttle here. And that's why you see the breakaway that we have between that first 2 drivers on the field, just because of how aggressive Richie Coy is at pinning these drivers down.
Chuck Sweeting and Troy Torgerson now getting around him. And now Richie Coy dropping all the way back to 7th. I don't think he'll give his teammate Brody Hanna too much grief here and will likely let him go right here into turn 1. Yeah, it does look like he is moving up to the high side and letting the 23 car go ahead and go.
He'll go right in behind Brody Hanna here, as now the battle behind with Lane Allen and Bernard Person as they try to get their way around Politsky.
Politsky also pitted on lap 104, but he did not. He only took 2 tires, Chris. So we got some different strategies out there. 2 tires, it's a hit or miss gamble with that. But Lane Allen working his way down and doing a good job in that 96 machine up on the high side as we are now at 80 laps to go. Dale Nearad leading from Jeff Chandler.
And Jeff Chandler is closing up onto the back of the 03 machine, now just over 3/10 behind your leader. He's really able to make the time up in the middle and off the corner here, as Nearad has now had to kind of back out of it on the exit of the corner just because of how much he was overheating those tires a few laps ago.
Nearad has Jeff Chandler all over his back bumper as the top 2 have checked out. Rachel Hunt in 3rd. Bobby Terrell now has Troy Torgerson on his back bumper. Sweeting has dropped off the back just a little bit. Wanted to check in on Randy McCanny. Randy is making his way back forward. He is chasing down TJ Bartel, who's missing the front clip, and Andrew Poliski. Bernard Person also in this group as well. And you see a little damage on the right front of Randy McCanny from that contact after that 3 wide. Tough situation, McCanny, because, Chris, you talked about it. He needed all the points he could get tonight.
Needed all the points, Jared. Was hoping to get a win as he was up there for contention earlier. But don't count him out quite yet. He's still maintaining his pace on the field here and looking just to kind of follow TJ Bartel around Poliski on the inside here. He's going to be up in the top 10 before too long.
We look at right out in front of the leaders. We are going to experience some lap traffic for the first time tonight. Let's take a look and see who that is. We have, and you see the track map all over, so that is 29th place of Jason Spear that Dale Nearad's going to come up to next. So that's a teammate. Adam Newton just in front of him. Dean Doucette just in front of him. Bill Benedict also back here as well with some damage from earlier in the race and also had that penalty. So there is going to be some lap traffic that these leaders are going to come up on probably in the next 3 or 4 laps, pending a caution.
That they will, Jared, and that'll make for an interesting show here. Who gets out of the way of the leaders and lets them by easily without contest? You would think that Jason Spear is going to let the 03 go by, but up in front of him, who's to say that the lap traffic won't play a factor in who's leading this race here before long?
Jumping on board Troy Torgerson, and Troy Torgerson all over the back of the 5 machine of Bobby Terrell. Chuck Sweeting trying to catch back up, but Richie Coy has found himself a spot, and now Lane Allen actually gets underneath them right as I said it. So Lane Allen trying to move forward into 9th. Then we got Bernard Person in 10th. TJ Bartel, who won at Nashville but not a playoff driver, he is in 11th. McCanny on his back bumper trying to move forward as well. We look at some of these other playoff drivers, Chris. Ralph Nolan Jr. back in 17th currently in the number 95 machine. They still don't have a clip on that machine. Casey McMullen in the 71 in 21st. There he is at the top of your screen. He is about, 5 seconds from being ahead of the leaders right now from being lapped?
Yeah, you're definitely right. It's going to make for an interesting battle once the leader can get to them, Jared. That's what the rest of the playoff drivers want to see, though. They want to see these other playoff drivers going a lap down here. Makes it a lot harder to gain positions when you're on a different lap than most of the drivers.
So we focus in on Wayne Grossi. He is 22nd, looks underneath the Casey McMullen. He's another playoff driver, but look in the distance there. We'll see if we can get a good camera angle here. There is Dale Nearad coming. There's Dale Nearad right there. So they're on the same straightaway as they are the last drivers on the lead lap, Chris. So it's only going to be a matter of time before Dale Nearad catches up to some playoff contenders and puts him a lap down. He did get around Jason Spear, Adam Newton, and Donnie Staubitz without issue.
Yeah, he's only about a second in front of your leader here in that 22nd position, and that's going to make things interesting. As you know that it's coming, it's just a matter of when and how aggressive that number 7 is going to be to keep this leader behind him.
Wayne Grossi moving underneath Kenneth Schultz. Schultz back there in 32nd position, 3 laps down, just trying to get some laps in. There is the battle still for the top 25 in points, so you want to make sure you're still staying there so you don't have to race your way in every week, and you kind of have a breather there. But now they're 2 by 2 in front of them. 2 playoff drivers chasing down or trying to stay on the lead lap. Wayne Grossi actually gets out of the way of the leaders, so there you go. Was wondering if he's going to fight it, but he did not.
No, I think once he saw that they were side by side, he elected that he would be better off letting these leaders get around him and then just trying to fall in line and hope that he can get around Casey McMullen in that 71 machine.
I believe Casey Mullen will fight a little bit harder. I don't know, maybe not, but I think Casey doesn't want to lose a lap, knowing how this race can go. But he actually lets him go.
And Jeff Chandler's patience is wearing thin. You can see he's trying to take a little bit different line than Dale Nerad around these lap cars. He was almost thought about taking it 3 wide there with Casey McMullen, thought better of it, decided to get back in line and get around a different way. But he is there, Jared. He is right on his bumper.
And they have a little bit of a gap up to 24th place, John Held, who is already 1 lap down, looking to be put 2 laps down. But Dale Nerad has a mirror full. Rachel Hunt also cutting her way through this traffic very well. She is not too far behind. She is right behind Wayne Grossi as we speak in 3rd place. We look at some of these other drivers. Bobby Terrell still holding off Troy Torgerson, and they have caught up to Rachel Hunt actually right now.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of being in 2nd or 4th position. As you get around, as the leader gets around you, usually at that point, those lap down cars are more willing to get out of the way of the other lead lap drivers. And that's kind of helped Rachel Hunt, as she was almost able to carve up 0.3 of a second on your leader. But man, this battle up front, Jared, Jeff Chandler is almost touching the bumper of Dale Nerad coming out of the corner each lap through 1 and 2. 3 and 4, they're pretty dead even, so he doesn't gain much there.
And doing a good job, Dale Nerad absorbing the pressure. We saw, this harkens back to that Pocono race, Chris. Dale Nerad, Bernard Purse, and Jeff Chandler going for the win, and some blocking that went on, and Dale Nerad threw the block there into turn 3.
Through the block, but unfortunately he overran the corner there, and that's going to give Jeff Chandler a lane to go in on the inside. Now we'll have to see if Jeff Chandler will pin him up there. Nope, he's not going to be able to use the 10 of John Held as a pick there. Side by side, though, they're almost touching coming out of the corner.
Dale Nerad and Jeff Chandler have a little bit of a history going back to that. Oh, contact in 3!
Both of these drivers able to keep it going in the right direction, though. Jeff Chandler didn't enjoy that. Neither did Dale Nerad on the outside. They're still side by side, Jared. Here, they're going to go through the same corner side by side as they just made contact, and Jeff Chandler wicked loose coming out of 2.
Jeff Chandler gets out of the throttle because he wasn't going to run up into. He only had a choice to run up into Dale. But going back to Pocono Raceway back in the summer, Dale Nerad going for the lead. Then there was a draft and a block thrown, contact made. Dale Nerad and tagged by Jeff Chandler after the block and took out Bernard Person in the process as well. Greg Holt snuck by both of those drivers to go on and win the race. But a little bit of history and all that battling, Chris, has allowed Rachel Hunt, Bobby Terrell, and Troy Torgerson to catch back up. They're within a second now of these top 2.
Well, they certainly were able to catch up, but as soon as these 2 drivers got single file here, they've already started to put a little bit of distance on Hunt and Terrell again. So, Dale Nerad wicked sideways there coming out of 2. These drivers, as they've been battling, though, Jared, they've been heating up their equipment. Now they're just content to kind of ride around here a little bit and try to cool those tires off to be able to get good runs here. I know Jeff Chandler needs that to be able to get up to Dale Nerad. He's still able to roll through 2 very well, but still not able to do anything to it. These drivers now, they're getting a little bit tight coming out of the corner, Jared, and as they do so, they're using the throttle to kind of get that car a little bit sideways to keep it out of the wall.
Chris, next guy up to be a lap down is Brian Helm. Brian Helm involved in that lap 84 incident and significant damage on the 20. So he went from being a driver that was chasing down Jeff Chandler and Troy Torres and Randy McCanney and Bernard Person earlier to being a driver that is looking to go a lap down here. He is the next guy up. Josh Johnson also the next guy up in there, and Kevin Rupert. So getting into some fast cars now, Chris, with 55 laps to go.
It's certainly making things all that more difficult for these playoff drivers. One driver who's actually enjoying this is Dean Doucette. As more cars get a lap down, the more likely he'll be able to make up positions. He's actually scored 2 laps down, Jared, back in 27th. He needs these drivers to start getting more laps down just so he can have people to race with.
Yeah, he is actually now 2 laps down, but he's up to 24th. He's 7 seconds behind John Held for 23rd position. So there is an opportunity for him to pick up another spot, which would do him a world of good. But his playoffs not starting out the way he wanted. Dale Nerad on the outside of Brian Helm. They're battling. These are all for position. 20th, 19th, and 18th right there in front of our race leaders. Nerad trying to get through pretty easily. And he does clear his teammate, Brian Helm not going to make it as easy on Jeff Chandler, no doubt, but does let Jeff Chandler have the preferred outside line.
And Jared, these drivers up here racing, they're actually running both lanes. So it's making it that much harder for Dale Nearad to figure out how to get around them, as now the one car is going to let him go to the inside here. But that's going to hurt Jeff Chandler as he wants to go up in that high groove. That's where he's preferred to enter turn 2. And, man, these lap cars, they're really making this an interesting race.
Bobby Terrell, Rachel Hunt, and Troy Torgerson are also there, but they can't get through. There's a 3-wide blockade in front of them. They see the race leaders, but they're blocked in behind these lap traffic, and there's nowhere they can go.
Nowhere for them to go. And Jared, at this point, those drivers, they're battling to be the first car one lap down. They're not going to just pull over for these lead lap cars and let them go as easily, just because they can see what can happen. If there's a quick caution here, you want to be that first car one lap down, as now things settle out with these 3 drivers here.
McCanny did want to check in on Randy McCanny. He is not that far back now, Chris, of the race leaders. He is actually only 5 seconds behind Dale Nearad, and the 27 car making a move back toward the front up into 10th place. He has caught up to Lane Allen, so Randy McCanny doing a good job recovering it, and we'll see what he can do with 49 laps to go. But right now, Dale Nearad leading, Jeff Chandler, Rachel Hunt, Bobby Terrell, Troy Torgerson, your top 5. Rachel Hunt getting underneath Kevin Rupert to get that is not for position. That is just a lap down car. So she is cleared. Bobby Terrell is cleared, and Troy Torgerson cleared. So good move by Rupert and Helm to let those guys go ahead and get through.
Now they can set their sights on the leader, but just in comparison, because of those lap down cars, Rachel Hunt is now 2 seconds behind your leader, whereas she was just barely 1 second behind your leader. So that just shows the difficulty that this track presents when dealing with lap cars.
The next driver up for our race leader is Mark Figueroa in the 17 machine, and you see them there. He is battling right now with Josh Mayhew and Ralph Nolan Jr. As well to be the last car on the lead lap. So there's still drivers battling, and we got somebody, maybe not, sliding off the corner. It looks like we're going to stay green if there was somebody that got loose there.
Yeah, there was definitely someone loose. I believe that was Gil Gok that got a little bit loose. Jared able to keep it together. He already was missing the front clip on that car due to the incident earlier.
Gil Gok on pit road, and he is pitting from 26th position, so he is going to be probably lose some more time. The top 5 all now on the same straightaway, with Chuck Sweeting now getting through the lap traffic, and he is on the same straightaway along with Bernard Person. And Brody Hanna also catching back up. Lane Allen under intense pressure from Randy McCanny. That's a battle for 9th place.
Definitely an interesting battle there between those 2 drivers. McCanny trying to make his way back up through the field. Lane Allen trying to hold him off. McCanny going to dive down a little bit deeper, try to get power out of the corner. It looks like the outside lane is just a little bit faster coming out of the corner, Jared. McCanny going to have to really dive down deep and do a little bit of a slide up in front of Lane Allen. Not clear yet. Now he's clear of the Lane Allen machine. Going to do everything he possibly can to get back up here and contend for the win.
And a good pass by Randy McCanny. Move him back up to 9th. He is only a second behind Brody Hanna, and only about 5 seconds behind Dale Nearad. So still not out of this thing for the win by any means. And Chris, there's contact between Nearad and Jeff Chandler. I have to wonder, did that hurt those vehicles a little bit? Maybe just a little bit. Now Rachel Hunt has caught Jeff Chandler.
Yeah, Hunt now is a little bit faster than these 2 up front. She's bringing with her Terrell not too far behind, as these 2 drivers are really closing up on the back of the 31 machine.
Yeah, and Bobby Terrell, Troy Torgerson also there. You see Chuck Sweeting across the line with Bernard Person and Brody Hanna in tow, so they are coming as well. We might have about a 9-10 car battle for the win here. Chandler loose off the corner. And that is really hurting that 31 machine as Dale Nearad continues to scoot away a little bit.
Yeah, as far as Nearad's concerned, he's just trying to get through these corners without getting that car too sideways and put heat into the tires. Working for him, not working for Chandler, as now he's going to have to start defending for that 2nd position.
Nearad leading. Can he punch his ticket to the next round? Jeff Chandler in second, Rachel Hunt in third. Rachel Hunt looking on the inside of Jeff Chandler, and she is going to get the move done, or is she? Off the corner, Bobby Terrell sticks it in 3 wide. I thought he was, and he's going to go down the bottom. We're under yellow. Darren Bruce has crashed. And there he is. What has happened to the 06 machine with 40 laps to go?
Oh, Jared, and this was a single car accident with the 06 just overcorrecting through the corner here, and just bad luck for that 06 machine.
Oh, yeah. Gets loose entering the corner, dirt tracks it, and then just overcorrects it into the wall, and nobody hits him, but that is going to bring out a caution. And, Chris, this changes everything. What are these guys going to do here right now? Pace car just now picking them up. Do you pit or do you stay out?
You're pitting. At this point, Jared, you're definitely pitting. I mean, every single driver out here is going to be screaming for tires. Person who's going to benefit the most from this still going to be Richie Coy back there, as he's going to have he's going to have that one extra set of tires for these guys. It just makes sense here, Jared, to go ahead and come down, and it looks like pretty much everyone on the lead lap is coming down the pit road.
Yeah, looks like Brian Helm wins the race to be the lucky dog. So put Brian Helm back on the lead lap, just barely nudging ahead of Kevin Rupert. So that's going to give us 17 drivers on the lead lap, 38 laps to go. Who is going to win the race off pit lane? That's going to be the crucial thing. You see Troy Torgerson down here in your bottom right-hand screen, and Lane Allen just now coming in. Right there where that light is where we're looking. The yellow cone is your signifier of who gets off pit road first. Here they come. It is going to be Dale Nearad by a lot, followed by Rachel Hunt, Jeff Chandler, Bobby Terrell, Troy Torgerson, Brody Hanna, Chuck Sweeting, or Bernard Person, Chuck Sweeting, Brody Hanna, Randy McCanney, Lane Allen, Richie Coy, TJ Bartell, all off pit road, Chris.
And Jared, this is going to make for an interesting race as these drivers now kind of reset the playing field, and now it's going to be everyone on the same fresh tires. Nearad still going to maintain the lead. He's going to have to do everything he possibly can to get a good start here. Hunt on the outside. We've seen a little bit of a mixed result from being on the outside early on in this race. It's kind of worked for some drivers, kind of didn't work for others. So she'll have to drive pretty aggressively on this restart. And most likely, if she's able to stay side by side with the 03, she'll come out of 2 with the lead here. Being in second may just be better than being in first on these restarts.
Chris, you look at some of these drivers. There are some drivers that are electing to stay out. Dean Doucette, Josh Johnson, Casey McMullen, Wayne Grossi, Kevin Rupert, Chad Lang, Bill Benedict, Casey McMullen, all electing to stay out. That means they are going to be taking the waiver round. So that is going to help some of these drivers out. So that's going to put all those drivers we talked about, Rupert, Johnson, McMullen, Grossi, they're going to be back on the lead lap, as is Darren Bruce as he makes his way off pit road. Dean Doucette will be shown 1 lap down. And Chris, we get another caution, a quick caution. Dean Doucette could be back on the lead lap.
That he could, Jared. That'll be the first time all night that it's felt like he's been on the lead lap, and that'll give him an excellent opportunity to get up here and battle for points positions, as he's kind of had an abysmal night so far.
Just an unlucky pit stop that he had, maybe a penalty or something. We're not too sure what happened to the 29 machine, but had a 50-second pit stop, and unfortunately was lapped because of that. So now these guys will be taking the wave around. Dale Nearad about the 8th car in line. So all those drivers you see from Bill Benedict all the way to the pace car, they'll be taking the wave around here when we get the 1 to go. So that's gonna shake things up too, Chris. But now for the first time tonight, we get to see what Rachel Hunt in the 16 machine can do up front. Newly joined with Elliott Sadler Esports about a month and a half ago. So still racing with Fast Turd Sim Racing here at FTSR, but definitely with some more resources influx to that 16 machine as you see all the wave around drivers go around. Dale Nearad looking up on the high side. Is he going to take the outside, Chris? He is.
And that's a smart move based on what we've seen before. He'll be able to get the jump on the restart a little bit better on that outside lane. And now he doesn't have to worry about Rachel Hunt being able to take the lead from him on that outside lane.
35 laps to go. Dale Nearad, Rachel Hunt will lead us down, but they are extending the caution to let the wave around drivers catch back up.
Good choice here by the race control here. As you can see in the background there, those wave around cars were just barely getting up to the rest of the field there. They would have already been completely up to speed. Would have made that restart a pretty dangerous one.
And the only disadvantage is Brian Helm, the lucky dog, actually has to start behind those wave around drivers. So his advantage is he's got new tires. The disadvantage is he's going to have to go through more drivers. So that's going to give us 22 drivers on the lead lap. 21 drivers on the lead lap. Darren Bruce, the first driver, 1 lap down. Dean Doucette also 1 lap down in 22nd. Dale Neerab will lead us off under green with Rachel Hunt on the inside in second place. Then it's Chandler, Terrell, Torgerson, Person, Sweeting, Hannah, McCanny, and Allen, your top 10. Green flag back out here at Richmond. And a good start by Dale Neerad.
Great start by Dale Neerad. Not such a good start by Bobby Terrell in that second position on that outside lane. He just really couldn't get that car going, it seemed like, and he's kind of falling back there. Oh, Chuck Sweeney gets real loose going out of the corner. Has to get out of it. Now they're 3 wide in the corner because of it.
Oh, and he's on the back bumper of McCanny, and he is...
Rachel Hunt got loose coming out of the corner. She got plowed into as well by Jeff Chandler.
Heavy damage to the 16. We were watching on board. Chuck Sweeting, 3 wide back there. Bobby Terrell, Brody Hanna in the sandwich. That's not where you want to be. We got racing all over this track. 3 wide still. Lane Allen up the hill.
Lane Allen all the way to the wall there in that corner, but doesn't look like he gets too much damage from that, if any at all. He's going to get back in line now behind Richie Coy and trying to make up positions as possible. But now up front, Dale Neerad, he has
something going on. Gil Gach is wrecked. We're staying green, but Gil Gach and Dean Doucette have wrecked on the front straightaway. Still green.
And Dale Neerad is hoping for no caution as he's now pulled almost a second lead over Jeff Chandler and Torgerson behind him. These drivers, they're going to have to do a lot to catch up to Neerad. He can kind of race the track here, Jared, and not really worry about anything else at this point.
Let's see if we can sneak a quick replay on what happened with Gil Gach and Dean Doucette. So there it is. Dean Doucette gets in the back of Josh Johnson, entering the corner, and then Gil Gach runs into the side of Dean Doucette. So a little bit of a chain reaction there. Randy McCanny is wrecked. And we are back under caution. What has happened to the 27 machine? Bobby Terrell behind him.
And Jared, a single car accident. You hate to see this for that number 27 machine. Just got loose coming out of the corner.
Wow, and he's lucky he didn't ricochet right back across the track. Held it and did a good job. Nobody else involved there. But, wow, I have to catch my breath for a second, Chris. That was an intense restart by those drivers.
That it was. I'm going to try to catch a replay real quick on my end to see exactly what happened with Rachel Hunt. She got a little bit tight, had to get out of the car, it looks like, and that just created a huge chain reaction behind her, and Jeff Chandler just had nowhere to go.
And let's see if we're going to look and see if we can find that replay here of Rachel Hunt getting some damage here. And might be easier said than done, but we'll work on it, Chris. But nobody going down pit road for the most part. Ralph Nolan, the first one down, and getting some service done on that number 95 machine. Mark Figueroa also on pit road. So let's see. I think this might be around what we're talking about here. So here's Rachel Hunt in front of, and we see Chuck Sweeting getting loose. So I believe this is around the spot. And here she is. Yeah, she gets loose in turn 3 a little bit. Oh, slides down, gets into the side of Jeff Chandler. And boy, oh boy, Bobby Terrell, great driving. Somehow doesn't run in the back of the 16. That's what put Brody Hanna 3 wide with Chuck Sweeting and got everybody stacked up deeper in the field. All right, Chris. So with 25 laps to go, we're going to have under 25 laps to go when we get going. Dale Neerad leading. Jeff Chandler might have a little damage on the side of that car. Troy Torgerson's there. He's got the win. He has nothing to go for except maybe getting some more win points. What do you do if you're somebody back here like Bernard Person, Bobby Terrell, Richie Coy, that are a little bit deeper back? How aggressive can you be?
Well, Richie Coy can be as aggressive as he wants with those extra tires in the pits. At this point, I would go as hard as possible for him. just because you know you can bank on those tires in the pits, Jared, that's going to make all the world of difference if we get another caution here. And with a little bit of trend work going on, that seems pretty likely.
Yeah, and you're looking out the back of Jeff Chandler, damage to the left rear quarter panel and spoiler area of that 31. And you look out the front of Rachel Hunt's machine, and I believe you're going to see something very much similar on that car if we can get to that camera. But yeah, there is some damage on the front end of Rachel Hunt as well on the left front. So we got some drivers up in the top 5 that have some damage, and that could also influence things going as well.
Yeah, Dale Nearad is okay with that by a long shot. He's okay with Jeff Chandler, who's been pretty much his steepest competition in the second half of this race. He's okay with him having a little bit of damage, hoping that'll slow him down. But looks like Nearad's going to choose that outside lane again.
Darren Bruce, our lucky dog. So we got 22 drivers on the lead lap. Bill Benedict now the first car, 1 lap down in 23rd position. Nearad's going to take the outside again. Chandler to the inside. We got Troy Torgerson and Bernard Person, Hunt, Terrell, Hannah, Coy, Allen, and Bartel, your top 10, as we have a restart with 25 laps to go here at the action track, and it's lived up to its name here at Richmond Raceway.
That it has. Now we got a little bit of tires here that are used. These drivers are going to have to prevent themselves from spinning them on this restart.
Green flag, quick green again. Dale Nearad gets a good jump, but that time Jeff Chandler stays with him, and nice job by everybody behind him. Bernard Person trying to make a move on the outside of Troy Torgerson. Oh, and Chandler gets off the corner really well. Maybe slight contact with the 03, drives it in.
Definitely a little bit of contact between those two drivers. And now Chandler getting wicked loose coming out of the corner, able to keep it going in the right direction, though. He'll get back in line behind Nearad and set his sail on hoping to catch that driver again. Torgerson trying to do everything he can to get around Person in the 8 for 3rd.
No love lost, you could tell there for a second between the 03 and the 31. Maybe not. We're just making stuff up here in the booth, but there has been some run-ins here tonight between those two drivers. Chandler giving everything he can. Torgerson trying to hold on to the 3rd place. He drives in deep. Bernard Person able to roll the middle, and Bernard Person up to 3rd place.
Yeah, it looks like, Jared, the 31 and the 98 machine, they kind of have a really good lane coming out of 2. Seems to be their quickest spot on the track versus everyone else. But 3 and 4, they kind of seem to be lacking just a little bit more than everyone else.
Richie Coy with the power move on the outside of Rachel Hunt, who's definitely feeling some damage there. He moves up. Oh, and TJ Bartel hits the wall and checks everybody up behind him, but everybody does a good job. TJ Bartel has been involved in a couple wrecks, not of his doing tonight, and he's still inside the top 10, but Brody Hanna looking on the inside of him. Lane Allen back there as well. And everybody else still doing a good job. But Dale Nearad continuing to lead the gap, is now 0.3 of a second.
0.3 of a second between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, as Chandler has 0.3 on Person as well. But they're still right there all over one another, Jared.
Oh, and Chad Lang.
20 to go.
Chad Lang around. And he is reset to the pits. So heavy impact for Chad Lang. We're back under yellow. So he is underneath John Held. Comes up the track. Looks like somebody got into the back of Adam Newton. And there's the 10 car again. Oh, and Jason Spear didn't see it coming. Heavy impact to the 4 machine. And that is going to do Chad Lang out there. And as somebody in the audience said, ARCA brakes out tonight here at Richmond.
That they are. It makes it an incredible, difficult race to get around. Jason Spear just trying to finish this race, Jared, and be able to contend. I think he's 1 lap down at this point. Now even more in problems for that number 83 machine.
Yeah, nowhere to go for the 83 machine, but Chad Lang slowing up for the wreck, and it looked like the 10 car runs right into the back of him. Didn't see the accident or something, but unfortunately damaged. Dean Doucette, though, back on the lead lap, and the 29 machine going by. And in 23rd position, he's got some opportunity to make up some positions now and to get him save his playoff season.
That he does, Jared. And a couple of the drivers that he'll have to get around are drivers that have been caught up in different accidents that may be down on power. So he'll look to be able to get around those drivers easily here And now with 18 laps to go, coming to 17, he'll do everything he can to put himself in a better position. And he's really had to work at that all night long, Jared.
Yeah, we've seen some drivers did come down pit road. Chuck Sweeting, Casey Mullen also down pit road on this last caution here. 17 laps to go. Dean Doucette likely no, he didn't come down pit road, so I guess he's going to save that set or maybe he's out of sets because we have used up some tires here tonight, Chris. 17 laps to go. Right now, as we talked about, Troy Torgerson, only driver 100% guaranteed to be racing for a championship come Las Vegas, which is the start of the round of 12. Everybody else, they need some points, they need a win, they need a lot. And Dale Nearad, one of those drivers. So is Bernard Person, so is Bobby Terrell, so is Richie Coy, Rachel Hunt, Brody Hanna, Lane Allen, all in the top 10, all need a win to guarantee their spot in the round of 12.
That they do, Jared, but now Dale Nearad's going to do everything he possibly can to go ahead and lock himself in, and he's kind of in a great position to do it. I mean, he's the leader at this point in the race. It's really just about keeping everyone else behind you, and with these cautions, it's making it that much harder for Jeff Chandler, Bernard Person, Troy Torgerson, and Bobby Terrell to make it happen.
So coming down to the end of the race here tonight. Next week we will be at Bristol Motor Speedway. So if you think tempers have flared up here tonight, you won't want to miss the action at the world's last great Coliseum at Bristol Motor Speedway next Monday night, because I'm sure that any tempers left over from Richmond will be exploding at Bristol Motor Speedway next week. Dale Nearad going to take the outside line. Jeff Chandler going to go to the inside. No choose rule here, but the leader can choose which lane they want to restart in. But Dale Nearad going to take the outside. Torgerson and Person, your second row. Coy, with a great restart last time, he is up to fifth. He is going to be in row 3 with Bobby Terrell. Hunt and Hanna, Bartel and Allen, your top 10. Only 2 drivers in the top 10, not playoff drivers. Jeff Chandler and TJ Bartel both have won races this year.
And Jared, this is a smart move by Dale Nearad by starting on the outside. He's able to control that a little bit better as we're coming to green.
Pace car is off. And the green flag zone's been right in this area. There it is again. Green flag back out. This time, Jeff Chandler with a good restart going to stay right with Dale Nearad.
Yeah, he had to get out of the throttle there. Didn't want to beat Dale Nearad to the line. Knew that would be a penalty for him and able to check up a little bit and still keep side by side with him. Now going to have to give it up out of the corner there. Just that outside lane seems to have a little bit better momentum coming out of the corners.
Nearad doing a good job holding him off right now. Person underneath Torgerson for third.
And Torgerson's doing everything he can to make that outside lane work. The problem is that he almost ran into the back of his own teammate just because of how much more speed he had coming out of the corner.
Coy battling hard with Bobby Terrell. Bobby Terrell shoving it down in the inside on Richie Coy. Coy battles back on the outside. That's a battle for 5th place. Coy's going to clear him off the corner. Finally getting around. Now he's up on Bernard Person, but everybody nose to tail as we jump on board the 8 machine of Bernard Person.
Dale Nearad gets completely
caution
sideways coming out of the corner, but it's not going to matter as we've got another caution.
And that's we got a lot of drivers. Chuck Sweeting, John Held, and Adam Newton all involved in this. Also, Jason Spear might have gotten a piece as well. Let's see what happened to the 75 machine. So we're back in the back of the field. Let's go to our drone cam here and take a look. So Chuck Sweeting, the green car on your screen. Randy McCanny also back here. He drives up underneath the corner. Oh, and he gets loose on entry, slides up the track. McCanny barely misses it. Johnson slams down the brakes, and then the field. Oh, and Dean Doucette, massive damage on the front end of that machine. Adam Newton just locked it down, did not get any damage, and I couldn't tell, but John Held also, I think the same thing happened there. See if we can get another look at this, but go ahead, Chris.
Jared, this is going to make that much more of an importance to this restart here, as all of these drivers up front, they were really getting racy up here, but it's hard to do so coming right out of a caution.
It looks like Gil Gock got in the back of the 10 car and spun him around, but that is tough break for Chuck Sweeting here tonight, who is up in the top 10 all night long, and that his race probably over at this point, the 2-time race winner this year. Chris, you alluded to it. Now we're down to 10 laps to go. Now the FTSR rules, we have one attempt at a green-white checker, so keep that in mind. But if you have sets of tires, do you take them? Because we are not seeing Richie Coy come down pit road, and with the amount of drivers on the lead lap, I mean, is it just too many right now?
Looking at it, Jared, he actually had taken a set of tires earlier in the race and does not have any in the pits. That would be, I think it's safe to say that no one has any tires left in the pits here tonight, and that's what's making this decision all that much more easier for your lead lap drivers.
So that's going to be it for the tires. And Chris, thanks for that update. Gil Gach on pit road. So right now, let's get you caught up on everything going on. So right now, Dale Nearad leading Jeff Chandler. 9 laps to go. We're under caution. Drivers out of the race. Randall Ballard retired early with some connection issues. Brandon Elder also out of the race. Mike Watts, Tony Solari, Matt Geringer, James Torrey, Sherwood Williford, Donnie Staubitz, Chad Lang, Kenneth Schultz, Adam Newton, all out of the race. Adam Newton actually in the garage getting repairs done. Chuck Sweeting out of the race. Jason Spear currently showing the last driver running in 26th position. We started with 38. Adam Newton also still on the track, but has significant damage. Kenneth Schultz back out there, apologies, with some repairs, but he is in 29th position. So we have about 29 drivers left in this race here tonight, Chris, and it's been a war of attrition. That's how Richmond sometimes can be. We've seen, back in the spring, we had 1 caution. This tonight, we're on lap the 8th caution of the night, 10th caution of the night.
11th caution of the night.
There you go. We got it right eventually.
And Jared, that just comes down to showing how much important these playoffs are to these drivers. Yeah, a lot of the wrecks haven't been caused by playoff drivers, but just that much excitement, that much pressure on these drivers to have a good race, to stay up in the top 25 in points if you're that far on that cut line, just to be able to make the race in general, not even about playoffs. So that just shows how critical that these points positions are, and just a little bit of driver error by a couple of those drivers back in the back of the pack. We're going to go back racing here with 6 laps to go. Is that enough time for anyone to get up there and challenge Nearad for the win?
And that's going to be what we're about to find out. 7 laps to go. Nearad, Chandler, still your front row. Nothing has really changed among the top 10 from the last restart. We've had a succession of cautions here that have slowed the race pace down to a crawl, but we will get this thing going again. 6 laps to go when they come across the line. Pace car is out. Let's see if the green flag drops early in the restart zone. And it does. Green flag back out again here at Richmond.
Jeff Chandler timed that start a little bit better than the last one. He's going to be on the inside of Dale Nearad. Get us a little bit loose on the entry. Going to try to power out on the outer. They're side by side going down the back straightaway.
What a move by Jeff Chandler in the 31. Slides up the track. Contact! Contact! And we have got Dale Nearad, who holds on to it and now he's into the wall. Wow. What a turn of events as Jeff Chandler and Dale Nearad make a little contact there.
A little bit of contact racing for the lead here. Dale Nearad's definitely not going to be happy about that one. That car's got a little bit of smoke pulling out of the back of it. The 03 now is going to have to come down most likely for repairs. That car is trashed.
And let's see what happens. So there you go, into the corner. Dale Nearad didn't give him a lot of space, and then Jeff Chandler might have washed up the track just a little bit there as well. And boy, that's a tough call right there, Chris. Nearad smoking out the back, as Chris said, probably smoking out the helmet as well. And Dale Nearad on pit road, leading this race, sees victory, sees the next round of the playoffs in his grasp. And boy, oh boy, they're going to talk about this one for a long time.
And Jared, looking at the replay, Jeff Chandler almost has that right or left front tire completely locked up trying to get around Nearad. That just shows you how critical these drivers feel that wins are here. Jeff Chandler not in the playoffs, but still doing everything he can to get those bragging rights, if you will, for winning this race here at Richmond.
Bill Benedict on board him. He is the lucky dog. That's going to put us with 23 drivers back on the lead lap. Dale Nearad, extensive damage. He is going to go a lap down. So he went from leading this race, possibly punching his ticket to the next round, to now sitting on pit road watching the field go by. Kind of the loneliest feeling in the world, and you hate to see it, but that is a typical situation. We see that at Richmond. It harkens back to the days in the same corner, Chris, back to 2010. Kyle Busch, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Actually, that might have been 2008, actually, now that I think about that.
I knew you were going to bring that up. Definitely similar, pretty much similar result here, except for Nerad's kind of going to get a little bit of a worse end of it than I believe Junior did back then, if I remember correctly. But we're going to Bristol next week. Nerad was fast even at the dirt track there. Who's to say he won't be able to pull out a win there, where we know that he's at least fast on the dirt side of things?
That's true. But, I would not want to be in that situation of a must-win situation. We'll have to see how the points shake out after the race tonight. But either way, Jeff Chandler has 7 playoff drivers chasing him right now. Torgerson, Person, Coy, Terrell, Hanna, Hunt, and Allen, all in the playoffs, all need to win to get into the next round officially, except for Torgerson, who won last week. Then you have Bartel and Josh Mayhew. Shout out to Josh Mayhew getting his number 02 machine into the top 10. That his K2B team has been very solid here tonight. Mark Figueroa has been in and around the top 10. We've seen Darren Bruce up in the top 10. So now everything has kind of shifted back around. Casey Mullen, another playoff driver, in 14th. McCanny in 15th, and Ralph Nolan Jr. in 16th. Wayne Grossi in 19th. Dean Doucette in 21st. Dale Nerad in 23rd position, going through our playoff drivers. Jason Spear in 26th. Right now is the last playoff driver on the track.
And Jared, we're going to stack them up here for a green-white checkered finish. Looks like Jeff Chandler is going to take that outside lane with Troy Torgerson, teammate, who's already punched his ticket into the playoffs underneath him. What will Torgerson do here to try to get another win and try to just get that many more playoff points going into the next round?
Now, the game has declared this a green-white checker. So what's going to happen? Green flag. Once they come around for the white flag, the next flag will end the race. Apologies. So it doesn't matter. Caution or not. This is going to be it. Jeff Chandler on the outside. Troy Torgerson on the inside. Who is going to win here tonight at Richmond? Green flag is back out here tonight.
Great start by both of these frontline esports drivers as Jeff Chandler tries to make it work on the outside. Torgerson now on the inside. He's going to drive as hard as he possibly can. He wants another win here, side by side, going down the backstretch.
Side by side, entering the corner. What can Richie Coy do from third place? Oh, contact! Troy Torgerson into the side of Jeff Chandler. That's going to open the door for Bernard Person. Teammates contact. And they're still wrecking. Bernard Person. What has just happened?
Jeff Chandler got up into the wall, trying to overdrive it, trying to save that car throughout the corner, and goes down into Bernard Person. Bernard Person livid at this moment.
And we'll get a replay, but I believe Troy Torgerson's going to win again. I believe Troy Torgerson is going to be the official winner here. We'll have to wait. The scoring says Troy Torgerson. I believe that is going to be the winner. And we'll get a replay as soon as we're able to do so, but I don't want to shine off the race-winning driver. Richie Coy is looking on the inside, and I wonder... we'll see what happens when they come across the line here. But it is now Troy Torgerson. He is the winner here tonight. So Troy Torgerson, back-to-back wins. He's going to get another 3 bonus points to add to his tally. And what a drive it was for the 98 machine. Let's, Chris, before we get into all that, let's see what happened there on the last lap. Starting with, let's just rewind the whole last lap. So here we go, coming off the corner. Troy Torgerson down deep into the corner, and just a little contact washes up the same way Chandler did, and that is an unfortunate situation. Right there, Chandler hits the wall, down in front into Bernard Person, comes back up the track. Brody Hanna goes flipping over. I can't tell who that was. Is that Josh Mayhew maybe there?
Yeah, I believe it was Mayhew. Wow.
We'll get a different angle of this because there's so much to unpack here.
It looked like Jeff Chandler would be able to save it after the contact with his teammate, Troy Torgerson, there in the 98 machine in the middle of the corner, Jared. But he's trying to so much to keep pace and to keep momentum going, and just gets up into the wall just from trying to run it that hard, and then just nowhere really for him to go. He's along for the ride, and Bernard Person, the first person that he's going to catch.
Yeah, Brody Hanna, I don't think I've ever seen this happen before in my life. He went through the catch fence, rolled back down onto all fours, and continued driving. That is a Dale Earnhardt-esque move for Brody Hanna. Not the race. I'm sure he's not happy about his finish, but nonetheless, what an amazing adventure he had on the last lap. Let's take a look at another angle of this accident and see what else we can unpack here, and then we'll turn it over and see what happens to Troy Torgerson. Let's jump on board Brody Hanna here, back in the back. You'll see right there, Bernard Person is in front. You see the contact. Torgerson gets into Jeff Chandler. Everything looks good. Person doesn't slow down. He drives in there. Chandler hits the wall, comes down in front of Person, and there it is. Chandler just slides back up the track through the guardrail, flips up, and he just gets back in the gas and keeps going, grabs the gear and keeps going for the 23 machine.
And
unbelievable.
The person who gets the best luck out of all of this, Rachel Hunt, with just the way that the caution fell here, ends up on the podium here in front of Lane Allen, and it was really close between those two.
And we will hear from Lane Allen. Rachel Hunt, unfortunately, battling Parkinson's disease, unable to speak to us tonight. But Rachel Hunt, excellent drive by her. And if you want to know more information about her story, check out her iRacing profile. A lot of great information in there. And Rachel Hunt, top class driver in this league. And what a race for her tonight here at Richmond Raceway. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, get our breaths, and we are going to hear from our top 3 finishers here tonight. We're back. We are back live here at Richmond Raceway, where Troy Torgerson has grabbed the win in one of the craziest last lap turn of events that we've seen all year, Chris. Wow, what a race.
What an incredible race, Jared. I mean, this is short track racing at its best and at its worst here on this last lap. I mean, you knew that Troy Torgerson was going to do everything he possibly could to get the win here tonight and just get that additional playoff point. Didn't think that he would go up and race into his own teammate here tonight. But Jared, you've got to do what you got to do to get a win here. And really, it was a little bit of just a nice soft contact. Didn't really look like it was going to create a big issue there for Chandler until Chandler caught the wall on the exit.
It did, and it was all downhill from that point on. Brody Hanna went for one of the wildest rides we've seen all year. Let's take a look and see how the playoff standings have updated here and get that information over here as we go into the next race. Let's see how this thing has changed up. There it was previously. Troy Torgerson, again, he picks up another 3 bonus points and will push himself even further into the next round. Bobby Terrell, now second place. Your 4 drivers at the bottom, obviously Jeff Winter, who's no longer in the playoffs. Jason Spear, Randy McCanny, and Wayne Grossi, all in your bottom 4 positions. 3 points, though, Dane Doucette above the cut line with Lane Allen also there. Bobby Terrell, not quite enough points, so nobody officially locked in after tonight's race except for Troy Torgerson.
And Jared, this playoff race is now an all-in for those drivers below the cutoff. Yes, it's still possible to get yourself in but it's certainly going to feel a lot nicer if you can do it with a win.
And Chris, it is going to be interesting to hear from these drivers, and I think you have our fourth place finisher here tonight, Mr. Lane Allen.
That I do. Lane, it seemed like this race came down to just how you were able to get off on these restarts here at the end. Take us through those last couple of laps. What was it like from your number 14th perspective?
I was hoping to hold my own there. I think last race start, I think I restarted 9th, but yeah, I would have considered it good if I'd have just held on to my 9th, but I was lucky to make it through that last carnage there. I figured I would be flipping too.
Definitely caught a little bit of contact there with Brody Hanna, but you were able to keep it going in the right direction there. And really, that's what brought home this 4th place finish for the number 14 machine. Anyone you'd like to thank that helps get you to and from the virtual track?
Oh, yeah. Blackwater Motorsports, Steve Berry Racing, Darkmatter Design, and FTSR, and all of y'all.
Certainly a wild and crazy race here tonight. When we were coming into this race, did you expect to see this many cautions?
No, I didn't. I didn't think that it'd be that many. Sure enough, it was surprising.
Well, it definitely sets you into a better position going forward to the Bristol race, as now you're above that cut line in the playoff points. What are you going to do at Bristol to ensure you're able to make your way into the next round?
That's it. A survival at Bristol, for sure. Just try to keep it off that wall.
Absolutely, and we'll be looking forward to next week and watching what this 14 machine has to offer. Jared, I believe you caught up with our 2nd place finisher here tonight, Richie Coy, in that number 19 machine.
Yeah, I'm down here on the box, sitting down with an excited and happy Richie Coy with a great runner-up finish tonight. Congratulations, Richie.
Holy mackerel, man.
Yeah, we're just, down here just catching our breath after that one, Richie. I mean, I don't know where to start with the race, but let's start at the end. I mean, everything happened right in front of you. I mean, what were you thinking trying to get through that mess?
No whammies, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies.
Well, you got through there. No whammies at all.
It was, it was an interesting, the last, I guess, 3 restarts. I was lucky enough to pretty much start on the outside, which helped. I was gaining positions every lap, and then that last green white checkered, we went down the backstretch, and holy moly, I think everybody hit everybody. I got down into Bobby a little bit, but I think that was the least of everybody's problems. And there was sparks and everything. And when we got to turn 1, the yellow wasn't out, the white flag was out, and I was in 2nd.
Well, Richie, I mean, that's what you needed tonight. You got a good run, and you're nobody officially except for Troy locked into the next round on points or anything like that. But you got a good run out of it. And let's rewind this race. You qualified back in 19th, so not a great start at a short track that's notoriously difficult to pass on. But you were able to find your way through the field with some pit strategy, and we saw you use those shredded tires early on. Did you run out of tires toward the end? Because we saw you stay out when everybody else pitted behind you.
Yeah, I was. Early on, I ended up going backwards. I started 19th. I was back to like 23rd at some point. I just couldn't get going forward because it's so tough to pass here. So I tried something, I tried it once where everybody pitted and I stayed out. I led a couple laps and I didn't fall off as much as I thought. And then when it happened again, I let everybody pit. I went up front. And at that point I was 13th. So I said, well, if I can fall back and be anywhere above 13th when we all pit again, it was it was a positive. And I think I fell back to 11th. I had everybody right in front of me at that particular point. And then it was just survival mode at that point with all the cautions and restarts.
And we've seen that play out at short tracks in the past where, some guys make a pit stop and are able to just kind of ride it out until the end of the race. And you did a great job there, Richie. You look ahead. You got Bristol next week. Now you have a quite a bit of a point cushion on on the cutoff, but you're still not able to relax yet, are you, going into Bristol?
I don't think I'm going to relax for the next 2 months.
Well, there you go, Richie. Well, congratulations on your run-up finish. I'm going to turn the mic over to you, let you have the last word on your race tonight, and congratulations on the runner-up.
I appreciate it, Jared. Thank you guys again. I can't wait to watch it at some point tomorrow. Unfortunately, I'm going away for work, so I might not be able to get to it until maybe tomorrow night, but hopefully I get to watch it. You guys do such a great job. Thanks to Fury Motorsports. We did work on a little bit of a setup for this race. And I know Brody was right there at the end as well. So I think we had a pretty decent set that we brought this week. And, thanks to Full Throttle Sim Racing and everybody everybody we race with. So, we'll see everybody next week.
All right, Chris, that was our runner-up here tonight, Richie Coy. And I believe you have caught up with our race winner, Troy Torgerson.
That I have, Jared, sitting here in victory lane with Troy Torgerson, back-to-back wins. Troy, take us through this race there on those last couple of restarts.
Chris, what a race. We had a fast car. We led some laps early on, and pit sequences. We had a couple of different guys running different pit sequences and trying to get the car around the cars on whether they had worn tires or not. Man, there was just really hard to pass. There was a lot of grip on the track, but there at the end, we had our last set of tires with 40 to go, and we there was some tight racing. Then we had a yellow, and tight racing. We had a yellow, and it seemed like the 8 and I were swapping back and forth between third and fourth there, and it seemed like whoever had the outside had the advantage. I guess there was some contact with the leaders there, and we moved up into the second spot there, and Jeff, he took the outside lane. Yeah, going down the backstretch, we were just doubled up there side by side, and I got a good run off of 2 there and kind of missed my braking point into 3, and I got into him a little bit there. He made a heck of a save there, and I guess come off a little high there, and I don't know. I guess he clipped the wall there a little bit, but feel bad for all those guys, man. I just giving a gift tonight.
That you were in that number 98 machine. Troy, coming into this race, you had already locked yourself into the next round. And at that point, really, we knew that it was one of those races where you kind of didn't have to come out here and be aggressive. You could just kind of ride your race. And yet still, from the very beginning, you took off here and led laps here. Were you content with not winning, or did you want to get up here and fight all night for the win?
No, we want to win. I mean, the team was running really good there for a while. Randy needed a win, and we got him out front there for a while, and then I don't know exactly what happened there. There was a few cars behind him, but I mean, we come out here to win. We come out here to race clean too, and race hard. I like racing with the guys here, man. You can, like I was telling the guys down in the waiting room, and most of the guys, you can lean on a little bit here. And tonight, some of us just got in too hard into the corners.
Absolutely. But you were able to sneak by and get the win here and those 3 extra playoff points going into the next round. That'll give you a little bit of an advantage going into that next round. Next week, we head to Bristol. What are you going to do at that track? Are you going to try to get up there and be competitive again? We know we talk about wins and how important they possibly are, but Bristol, it's a tough track, even more so than even Richmond here tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough battle. Now, like I tell you guys, I mean, we're here to race, we're here to win. We're gonna try to go out there and put the number 98 in victory lane, and hopefully we get a little bit of racing than what we had. A little less cautions. Some of that racing was pretty dang good tonight. So, but yeah, we're gonna try to put the 98 in victory lane each week. I mean, that's what we're here to do.
Absolutely. And is there anyone you'd like to thank to help to get this 98 machine to and from the virtual track each week?
Yeah, I gotta thank Frontline Esports for bringing me on here. The whole team over there put a lot of work into this setup. We were pretty good. We had a good qualifying setup, and we started well. Got to thank a Bruzy Raceware for being on the car. It's glad they took me under their wing, and we're very proud to run their name on our car. And we got to thank you guys each week, Jared and Chris. You guys do a whale of a job, and I'm gonna go back and analyze this thing again here, but watch the broadcast and thank Brody for the putting on a good league here. He's got some great drivers in this league, and like I said earlier, I'm very proud to be able to race side by side with most of these guys, and Darkmatter Designs for sponsoring the league here.
Absolutely, and we'll be watching next week at Bristol to see how this 98 is competitive there in the last race of this round.
All right, Chris. Thanks for what you guys do, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And Jared, this was an incredibly difficult race for everyone on this racetrack. We've seen a lot of different things happen here throughout the night, but it was a rough one.
Yeah, it was, and I think we might have have Rachel Hunt, our third place finisher here tonight, and see if we can get a word in with Rachel here tonight, who had a great run. Got Pete. She says she's got a nice third place after getting turned early. And Rachel, you had a great run going, and you did drop back there, but then you got yourself back up there at the end of that race, and that had to be good for you. And moving on into the next race at Bristol, get some points under your belt. Yeah, she said she had a lot of fun and was a really good time going out there, getting back up to the end of the race there. And Rachel, how are you feeling about the rest of the playoffs moving forward? You got Bristol next week. You're right on the cusp. You're inside, I think, 8th place unofficially going into Bristol. How are you feeling about Bristol? She says right now she's feeling pretty good about Bristol. She enjoys it, and she's looking forward to it. Well, Rachel, I appreciate you taking the time, and and you're courageous with your battle against Parkinson's disease. I'm going to give you the opportunity to thank anybody you'd like to thank and give out any shout-outs you have out there for what gets this car to and from the track. She says, thanks to Blackwater Motorsports and all of us doing the broadcasting. So fun to go back and watch the race, and the Dorns for all their support. So there you go, Chris. Thank you so much, Rachel, for coming up here and chatting with us here, and continue to see you out there on the race here moving forward. But Chris, what a job for those guys and gals. Rachel Hunt doing a great job out there.
Absolutely. At a difficult track, Jared, we mentioned earlier that this race had one caution in our first attempt at the track. Tonight, a little bit different story just because the intensity building as the season comes to a close here And next week, it's going to be no different at Bristol.
And we take one last look at those point standings. Bobby Terrell right now sitting 34 points above the cut line. So not quite punching his ticket to the next round, but very close. Rachel Hunt in third, tied with Richie Coy. This is all unofficial. Bernard Person in fifth. Then you have McMullen, Nolan, Hannah, Nearad, Helm, and Allen. Doucette would be your 12 drivers moving on right now, with Grossi, McCanny, and Spear looking just on the outside heading into Bristol. But that's going to do it for an interesting race here tonight from Richmond Raceway. For Chris Spear, I'm Jared Carr. For Full Throttle TV, we will see you guys out on the track next week at Bristol Motor Speedway.